So, Chunky Wombat Media, thanks for joining us on the Behind the Noise podcast. How are you doing?
Thanks for having us.
Still breathing.
So, who have we got? We've got Natalie,
Yep.
Ross,
Max.
and Max. So, how many of you is there all together there?
Well, there are three main members, and then we've got a few other people who come in and out during the week, kind of regulars.
Okay, as and when.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They do stuff we don't. So, yeah.
You all have your own specialities that you stick to.
We
So-
call them in when we need them.
Yeah. So, when did Chunky Wombat Media officially start?
As is last November?
1st of October.
1st of October.
1st of October last year.
So we're approaching our first birthday.
That's pretty cool. Have you got any plans for your first birthday?
We're probably going
Get
to end up
wrecked.
in Embers. We hope anyway.
We made it.
Is it anywhere near Halloween?
I heard there's a Halloween party there. Or
There you
Halloween
go.
weekend. I didn't listen to your podcast this afternoon.
Fair enough. So, who officially started it? Was it the three of you all together at the same time, or?
Not me.
Well,
Chunky Wombat 1.0 was Max, a chap called Phil, and myself.
Right. Okay.
yeah, the original ideas. The three of us, had a video and film background,
Right.
and we wanted to gradually do that within Cumbria.
Right.
We tried to get out into the industry beyond Cumbria, but it meant that we'd just be leaving Cumbria, and we love the
Yeah.
place. So we wanted to do our own thing, and then a few months into sort of umming and ahhing about the whole thing, I met Nat, and by which point we'd realised we could use a graphic designer, because then that's the one big thing that's missing. And we then realised that it would take a lot more startup capital and equipment to set up a video company. There's also the market isn't necessarily as strong as graphic design.
Right.
So that's where Nat came in, and we decided, well, we have to prioritise. And yeah, we thought we'll put everything else on the back burner for the first 6 months and roll out graphic design.
I'm going to have to cut in then, because that was a remarkably bullshit/romantic version of what actually happened. Phil, Max, and I were in the back room of my house for like 4 months, changing desks around, trying to figure out what to do, trying to figure out terms of services and all this bollocks, trying to figure out names, titles for ourselves. Then it didn't go anywhere. Months and months and months and months. Yeah, we didn't have any cash to put into it, so no jobs were coming. We weren't thinking of going abroad. We weren't thinking of expanding into other counties. And then, yeah, it just fell apart for a while. And then, yes, several months after that, young Natalie came into it.
Okay. So, what's your speciality?
I've been doing graphic design and marketing for 6 years. So here, there, and everywhere around Cumbria.
Is that what you studied?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Born and raised in Cumbria, studied in Cumbria, refused to leave. I've been... Yeah, worked a few places, and when these guys were telling me what they were, setting up,
You're interested.
It was kind of watching just 3 toddlers arguing over things that didn't matter. So I kind of came in and went, right, we need to think of this, this, and this. We need this equipment. We need premises. We need T's and C's. We need a computer so I can sit and make stuff, and you can all run around after me. And that's kind of how it's been for like 11 months.
Well, Natalie brought in an actual real-time revenue stream. Film gigs are few and far between.
Right.
Certainly for anybody that's done anything yet.
Right.
Whereas, there's a shed load more design work, logo work, flyer work, whatever being done all the time.
So is that the point where you started to work under the same umbrella as
Yeah.
Chunky Wombat Media?
Yeah.
Where did the name come from?
We were looking for something that was short, catchy, and there was a common trend where you pair up a fun adjective with a cute animal or other object, and then we just went through a couple of lists, eliminating that one doesn't sound that great, and then came up with Chunky Wombat. Carried on for a few minutes, but then that's the one that stuck in my head at least, and then I managed to convince the others to stick with it.
It's a good choice. It's memorable.
Well, the hope was to find something that obviously, yes, was memorable, but the bonus here was everyone we said the name to, they just smile straight away.
Yeah.
And so that's
half the
fantastic.
battle, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Plus, I'm guessing there wasn't a Chunky Wombat anything else.
There is
something.
There's a last I checked. There's a Chunky Wombat
IT
IT
company, yeah.
which, if I remember right, is someone's front room somewhere down south. So we added
Right.
Chunky Wombat Media, and we thought, well,
That
That's
kind
quite
of
a common
covers everything
thing.
we do
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good
I
umbrella term.
don't see it as a bad thing or a
No,
shame.
no.
So
It's hard to come up with something these days that hasn't already been
Yeah.
done or doesn't have some sort of other version of it. You come up with something and go, no one else has ever thought of this.
Everything's
Very
been done
hard.
before.
Yeah. So if someone didn't know anything about you, what are the main things that you guys do as a company?
I think we kind of specialise in, well, at the minute we're specialising in startups. We've got a lot of people that come to us starting a business or something, and they need a logo. And then after they get a logo, they need print materials, they need a website
Yeah.
and everything. Like the pub that we've just opened at Smithfield. So that was signs, menus, logos,
So you
website.
basically started to do the whole package
Yeah,
for someone starting up.
uniforms for the
Oh,
staff.
right.
It was just
Oh yeah, you do like merchandise, like
Yeah,
T-shirts and
yeah.
stuff as well.
T-shirts, all sorts of.
So is that something you sort of
Brilliant.
added along the way as you've sort of saw the demand for things like that?
You always had
Yeah,
it in your mind.
But I always had it in my mind because it's stuff I used to do in previous jobs, so I kind of had the technical know-how. And I like shiny things, and when you can print onto like aluminium and all sorts of stuff,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's brilliant.
So was it easy to find the premises to start and stuff, or?
it was tricky to. We had a budget, but it probably wasn't very high, and we looked around, but there wasn't anything really inspiring. We had heard from someone about the Atlas Works. We knew a few people who have band space there and stuff like that, and we had a look, found something that was slightly above our budget, but we just fell in love with the place because it had
Lots of
So-
cozy little rooms and enough room to expand,
Mm.
and the people who work there, the landlords, are just wonderful. They're
really
so supportive.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
And it's a lovely community to be a part of. It's not a sort of stuffy commercial unit, and you don't really talk to any of the other businesses that are there. And this is so much nicer.
Everybody knows everybody, and
Well,
we've
you-
kind of
you
got
say
everything we
that.
need.
You say that, I'm still meeting new people. I mean, up until I finished really late last night, I didn't know there was an Army Cadet platoon within the... I mean, there's gyms, there's a school uniform supplier, there's a crafts thing, there's several dojos, there's a guitar makers, there's a street eat place, and of course our favourite, the Sweat, the gay sauna.
A gay sauna.
Yeah.
Everything's
How
there.
niche.
Everything's
Wow.
there.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
Sandwiched between a hairdresser's and the school uniform is the gay sauna. Although, ironically, the back entrance to the gay sauna.
Indeed. So I was looking at your website and it says you mentioned the term soup to nuts,
Thank you.
but I didn't know what that meant.
Thank you.
I'd never heard of that.
Nobody. She made it up.
And
didn't
I
make it
deliberately,
up.
I deliberately did haven't, I
made it up.
deliberately have not Googled it because I just
She
wanted
made
you to.
it up. She's the only one to ever
Well,
written
go on then.
to say that.
Explain us what soup to nuts means then.
Two very different types of food, soup and nuts. It's like when people say chalk and cheese, from this to this.
Right.
But soup to nuts, it's a phrase.
You
I'm
need
starting
to-
to think
Allegedly.
it's a Cumbrian thing because I'm like the only Cumbrian here.
Maybe. Well, if it isn't, you need to get a campaign to make sure it gets
Yeah,
to
I
the
know.
dictionary or something.
Should trademark it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
Is that some kind of extreme sort of like, S&M, instead of candle wax, you use
to
soup?
nuts.
Damn.
Or nuts.
It was, if I remember right, we were trying to come up with a description, but one that still had a few little things that said, yeah, but we're not the usual super serious, stuffy. We want to be.
Yeah.
We don't want to take ourselves too seriously. We want to be
I
down
think
to
your
earth.
logo kind of gives off a bit of that as well, which is a good thing. I
Oh,
think.
it's great. It's great to play with.
Yeah.
It's fantastic
Yeah.
to play
Yeah,
with.
it's
I mean,
so-
Natalie's
It's
knocked
a
up some...
character.
I can't remember what you did for Embers a couple of weeks ago, but there's a little picture
metal
of...
chunky.
Yeah, of a guitar and throwing the horns
Oh,
up.
right, yeah.
There's a Christmas chunky as well.
Who is
Oh, yeah.
chunkier than regular chunky because it's Christmas.
There's a chunky on the toilet in our
Yeah, reading a
premises.
newspaper.
Yeah.
There's a chunky driving a car. He's actually become... I think it's a part of my split personality. I have an inner wombat that does weird stuff, and I have to make these graphics to go along with it. And everyone's like, yeah, Natalie, it's lovely. Yeah.
So you've had quite a lot of work in not even a year then, haven't you? Because I've been following you since about 6 months ago. I think I first came. It's probably when Tech mentioned you that you were doing the video show. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to say. You've done a music video for a band as well for Trivers Massacre.
Two. We did a
Oh, you done
lyric
two?
one and a live action.
Ah,
one,
cool.
yeah.
So is that something you're looking to do more as well?
Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to. Yeah, it was.
Was that a learning experience? Had you done anything like that
It's
before?
mental.
Or?
I hadn't.
We both did the uni, didn't we? Music video module.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good, by the way. I watched it. It was really good.
Thank you.
Well,
really good.
the hope for me, if I could pick 2 or 3 things I really wanted to work on, one of them would be documentary, and the other would be music videos, especially for local bands. Not necessarily super high end, but something that's relatively simple and affordable, achievable, but with the right tricks, the right lights and everything, and the right edit, it's I don't want to say easy.
It's doable.
But it's such a
doable and
rewarding
affordable.
experience, and it's so much fun to, the guys from Trivers were fantastic to work with.
And the video came out really well.
I was
But
so
speaking
pleased
from
with it.
experience, I know that there is a demand for affordable but like visually effective videos like that.
Yeah, it's tricky because of all the equipment that you do need to do a half decent job, and to have that
You can
comfort.
give a shout out to them. They are wonderful people.
Yeah. You had a question before that, though. We swiftly moved on to.
Did I?
Yeah,
After
I think you
after
mentioned
Soup to
we've done
Nuts.
we've done a lot of work
Yeah, let's
another
move on
year.
from soup to nuts.
Yeah, no, you said we had a lot of work in a
Oh, yeah.
relatively short
Yeah, you
amount of
did.
time.
You've been pretty busy.
It started off slow, as you could probably imagine, but we met a few people in particular who were very supportive, and we maybe did a small job for them. They gave us a chance, and then thankfully they were happy, and then we got a load of referrals from people like, Helen from Tipsy Philly is one of our biggest ones.
Is it okay to plug people?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you want.
Alan for
number one fan,
Comfort
she
Tea
is,
has
Helen.
mentioned us to
Yeah.
loads of people. I don't want to forget anyone now. That's the
No,
problem.
but there's a lot of people. We've got a lot of support.
But that's how it starts, isn't it? You do a couple of bits and pieces, and if your work's good, then they tell other people.
Yeah.
But like you got
Yeah,
word of
that's
mouth,
happened.
but you've also got social media. They're kind of similar, but
And we reached a point in the last few months, we were so busy we haven't actually done any of our own promotion or marketing.
yeah.
So
we
we've
haven't really
been-
needed to.
We've been quite lucky because we should really be promoting ourselves a lot more than we are. But
It's a good problem to have, really.
We're too popular.
Yeah, just too likable and too.
the trick is just making sure everything's done on time, that we try and keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
Every startup has got its little bumps along the way, and you just have to accept it and
It
keep
got to
going.
the point where some of our friends that were opening bars, like Embers and like the guys at the Robin Hood, their opening nights. I was in the kitchen at the Robin Hood chopping chips because
All
he didn't
hands
want
on
to do
deck.
it by himself. And like we were helping glasses collect at Embers, because Max and I are on the committee as well. So
All right, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of when you're dealing with startups, I think the all hands on deck approach is definitely appreciated.
We could definitely relate to so many of the worries, and we just want to try and make ourselves available because so many people have come to us when we needed a hand.
You don't want to have to turn anybody down or say we can't do this. Or
Yeah.
And for things like Embers, where we really wished that we could have done more to help, because we were involved with the design, but we felt bad because there were people who were spending a whole week or two painting and doing loads and loads of stuff, and it's tough trying to balance the two. We'd love to get more involved, and I think it probably won't be the last time we get involved with a startup, decorating and whatnot.
No.
If the Robin Hood is anything to go by, being in
I
the
wouldn't
kitchen
want it to
till
be
2
the
in the
last
morning.
time either. So
well, it's a good feeling if you get that involved in it. You're not just doing their sort
Yeah.
of logos or whatever. You're actually properly involved in it. It's proper community spirit, which is what the Embers thing was all about. I can't think of too many things where I've seen that the community involved that much, like especially with the funding side of it, and then local businesses like Pizza Hut, was it, or Domino's,
Domino's,
yeah.
giving free pizzas and stuff. I mean, that doesn't happen very often, does it?
Well, one of the side objectives was, yes, we want to start a business, and yes, we want to put what we studied and some of our skills to use, but we also were looking for ways of giving back to the community.
Yeah.
I thought originally that was going to be in the form of maybe documentary and stuff, but through all the different things that we can do and just meeting people, and you know, there are so many tiny things that you can do to help a little business, or then help someone else, or they'll all these people will band together. There's quite a lot of stuff that people in small businesses have in common, I think.
Yeah.
And I think if you can hold their hand and help them develop and help them grow, then they'll keep coming back to you, which in turn has helped us kind of grow.
Well, like repeat
rapidly.
business.
Yeah. In the last 6 months, it's just gone mad.
That's good. Oh, and also, with Inside your first year, you won an award as well.
Yeah.
So what was that for?
So it was the SME business News Business Awards.
What's SME?
So it's the Small to Medium Enterprise.
Okay.
And yeah, we're best digital marketing agency in Cumbria. So.
And there's a fair few of them.
Yeah. Especially if you go down to Kendal and the likes of that.
That's
so.
really good.
Well, we didn't really look into it until quite recently, because we got an email saying that we were nominated, which I
got excited about.
That's good that you got nominated.
Like,
sometimes you have to put yourself forward, but you just got nominated, which is good.
Someone out there has nominated us, and whoever that is.
There was a next step, wasn't there? We had to send some more information and tell them about ourselves.
Yeah.
Tell our story and that kind of thing. Yeah.
And then
I was actually in the process of writing up, 2 or 3 drafts of supporting evidence to actually nominate ourselves, but somebody had already done it for us.
Yeah.
So it saved me a job.
That's really cool.
And then we didn't hear anything for a while. And
that
then
was a good few months, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then we didn't even look into how big the competition, how big the awards were.
Yeah.
How significant they were and everything. But then when someone recently, brought it up.
Yeah.
We looked into it, and there were over on the one page you looked at, there were over 30 other companies within our category.
Wow.
In North Cumbria, yeah.
And I bet a lot of them are a lot more established than you as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty impressive.
I don't want to. It just made us want to work harder.
Well, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Think, oh well, it's that easy. Well,
yeah.
It was more
We've made it.
more of the same thing, please. That was kind of.
No, it made me want to kick back and go,
let's go on holiday.
Me or anyone?
all these other companies, many of them will have won awards and will have definitely deserved it. And if we can get to the point where if we can keep getting nominated, keep winning stuff, maybe, then we'll.
There's probably a couple of companies who keep winning it, and then all you guys pop up out of nowhere. Like, who are these guys?
Coming
taking
in,
all
taking
our awards.
I think we're putting a different turn on the industry, and I think that's probably
locally anyway.
And I think that's a.
But it's scalable, isn't it? If you start whatever you're doing locally, transfers elsewhere. So have you had many jobs offers outside of Cumbria because of what you've been doing?
We've just done. We're doing at the minute a run of like T-shirts and band merch for a band based in Yorkshire.
That's cool.
That's a friend of a friend. So that's quite a cool one.
So is that something for sort of test the waters to see if it's viable, and if it is something that you do more often?
I'd like to do it more often.
Yeah.
The band stuff is stuff that I.
Because if you're doing like music videos, it kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
Well,
yeah.
Who was that Canadian guy? Was it that reviewed our video?
Reviewed the Triverse Massacre video. He reviews a lot of underground metal tracks.
Yeah.
From
YouTuber.
Yeah.
Middle of nowhere bands, and one of was it Mike from Triverse sent us the link to this guy. I've seen a few of his YouTube videos, and I've never heard of any of the bands that he's ever reviewed. But then it's our music video on this little thumbnail, and he's watching it, and he's like, "Oh, that bit's good, yeah, and that bit's good," and I'm just like.
And he's got like 50k subs as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people do very well at doing that.
Yeah.
So I was giddy after that.
I found that whole experience so satisfying because I had a few quite simple ideas that I just wanted to repeat, and it's all this stuff that I've been itching to shoot for ages. I was really looking forward to that shoot because I've worked on a few music videos before, but I was maybe doing B camera, or it was much a much smaller kind of thing, or maybe it was something for uni. So it was there was a set theme that we had to do and everything.
Right.
This was almost entirely our vision. You know, the band
they
were
just left it
Our
up to you.
baby.
the band were really happy. They gave us loads of creative control.
Yeah.
So did you take the concept just from what the song was about? Did you
Mm.
ask them?
We asked them, but there wasn't.
There wasn't really a direct link.
The theme of
Well, the videos don't have to be, do they?
there
Which is
wasn't a
good.
very obvious theme that came out that would have been. Well, I think
That we
They
could have
didn't want-
reproduced at such a quality.
Yeah.
they didn't want. I don't think they wanted, and we didn't want another one of these videos where it's just some girl wandering around in the woods
In the
or
forest,
something, and
covered in blood, or
Yeah.
Because
no,
he
it's
filmed
like-
plenty of those films for his projects at uni.
Yeah.
but yeah, I just wanted something quite straightforward but done properly.
Yeah. The video definitely fit the song and fit
Yeah.
knowing them,
Mm.
it fit the band as well. It's
I was
really good.
I was quite worried that the schedule would be a problem because you hear about so many bands have that same experience where we're there for 12 hours and
Well, we were.
but we were
12 energetic
Are you
we
going to do
were-
it in a day?
Yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah,
nothing to
we-
complain about if you get done
we
in a
were
day.
what, an hour behind schedule in the
So,
morning, and then
well, we started. It was hilarious. I mean,
How many of you were involved with it?
Well, all three of us
Yeah,
rocked up at the start of the day.
yeah.
She disappeared
And-
halfway through.
and we had Rowan who did B camera.
Okay.
That's
for us,
Rowan Stowe.
Stothart,
Oh,
who then
Stothart.
put us in touch with Fail the Enemy from Yorkshire.
Okay.
But the most delightful thing of that day was 8 o'clock. The band rocked up, and I believe you know Mr. Stark.
I do. That's quite an
Don't we all?
achievement. Just to begin
Well,
with, that's
he'd
good.
already slept
Two
in,
4-packs of
so-
Fosters.
I thought you were going to say he just didn't go to bed.
Two 4-packs of Fosters. They'd all gone by 10 o'clock. They'd all gone by 10 o'clock,
But
and then
it
some guy
loosened him
turned
up
up at
for
11
it.
o'clock with more.
With
Right.
Mead. Yeah, it was Dan Sweeney turned up.
But I was
So
Of
with
course,
Mead.
yeah.
I was mentally prepared for us to just not be that organised, or things wouldn't go to plan, and we just ended up winging it. But we
Well, it
we
was like
decided
that up
to-
until the actual day, because we hadn't even got the venue until
Mm.
24 hours before.
yeah.
Big
But-
shout out to McKnight's letting me borrow their warehouse. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the actual room where it was shot was off to one side because there's this big empty warehouse, and it's kind of cold, white, loads and loads of room because of what I wanted to shoot with loads of room between the band members. So I thought it'd be ideal,
Yeah.
but then there would be a lot of ambient light, and then there was just this little door onto the side that these guys found when rummaging around, and I was in a bit of a mood because this isn't my plan, but then it's this big rusty thing, and yes, there's enough room to shoot in, but it just looks so cool. Looks really run down and kind of grungy, and just stick a couple of lights behind it, and
Smoke machine and
yeah.
God knows how many jury-rigged light sources that we ended up didn't
Yeah.
using anyway.
Yeah, and one of the original things was we wanted a very colourful video, so that got scrapped very early in the day, just because we didn't have the powerful enough lights with the
Right.
colours to do that. But I'm still really pleased. We ended up with a kind of golden
Yeah.
tone. And
It's really colourful. It comes across. It's really good. I'm impressed.
well, one of the most important things is just it doesn't matter how good the cinematography can look. If the band look boring, then it won't be
Yeah.
great. And these guys were such
yeah,
a good
that's what the
sport.
Fosters was for.
Well,
Yeah, but only Liam.
we broke it up so that there's quite a bit of space between, say, Liam at the front, the guys on guitar, and then the drums, so that we could give Liam a rest between, give his voice a rest.
Oh, because you don't want to keep doing it. Because with those style of vocals, if you just keep doing it over and over and over again,
Mm.
your voice
We
just
kill him.
goes.
And it wasn't just his voice, but we really, if there were vocals on, we really needed him to be full of energy.
Yeah.
So, whereas the guys in the background, it wouldn't be as important, and then we'd just go further into them.
Yeah.
So,
Was he actually singing during?
yeah, well, I think so.
The words he could remember.
I
I
yeah.
could hear a fucking. We all had earplugs in anyway. Jesus, if he was singing, I couldn't hear a damn thing.
Good
But
earplugs.
they were so animated whenever they were on camera.
Yeah.
They were brilliant. So I couldn't have been happier.
Because in real life, they're the most unanimated guys.
Well, they're all gentle souls, aren't they?
They
Yeah.
are.
Who was it that
Kittens.
had calves of a god?
Probably
Jason.
Was it Jason? That had calves of like.
I'd expect it to be the drummer, would it not?
No,
Was it Chris?
Yeah, the guy on the right as we look at it.
No, it's Jason.
Guitarist. James, I think. Yeah. He was in the army for a little while. He's in like social work or something like that.
He's got fabulous
You know
calves.
Chris Hoy's thighs? They're like Chris's calves. It's doink.
Does he go to the gym and just does that?
Yeah, we had to stop Ross from touching his legs.
Well, yeah, I should mention though.
Amazing.
Yeah, because Liam got loads of breaks, and then the guitarist got breaks, but Paul Mikey.
Sat at the back in the smoke.
Yeah,
little drum kit.
he was in shot for
He looked a bit
everything.
sweaty.
So, and he has arguably the most physically demanding job, and
Yep.
we gave him a few breaks.
Yeah.
We weren't horrible, but yeah.
And he was actually playing as well for a lot of it.
Yeah.
yeah.
The
and-
guitarist went. I maintain Liam wasn't singing, but yeah, Mikey was playing.
It's not what you call singing, Ross, but it was
No,
singing.
he wasn't singing. Well, there's nothing to record into at the time. So.
No, I remember on the scratch audio. You can hear him on the
Can
on the
you?
raw clips. Yeah, you can hear him because he's right next to the camera.
Wheezing.
Or was it not just a case of some takes he was singing and some he wasn't, maybe?
I
Oh
mean,
well, no,
there's-
we
Pick
didn't.
and
Well,
choose.
There's a lot of cymbals and stuff, but then you can definitely hear that there's some rasping going
Yeah.
on.
So was there like a behind-the-scenes kind of video with it, like an outtakes video?
Liam. I said Rowan took some stills, but I don't
We
think
only had
everything was put together.
We had a few stills, but there wasn't really time, and we didn't have
Ah,
someone
okay.
spare. That would be nice to do.
Yeah,
But-
that's some of the people we've worked. My band Dynamo, I've worked in the past where they, like you say, is that what you call B-roll footage? Someone's just filming everything all the time for extra
Yeah.
footage and that. And then if you've got time, then you can also interview the band after you've done it or whatever, or even beforehand or whatever. It's quite a cool thing to do. Once our video for Dark World, we ended up filming in a cavern near Ambleside. Were you there for that?
I think I've seen that video.
Oh my god! But that wasn't originally where we were going to film it. We'd found this perfect place in Newcastle, which used to be a mental asylum, which was just
St.
there was
Mary's.
yes, I think it was.
Stannington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a big housing estate being built
Yeah.
around it. So we thought we'll go. We didn't get permission. We just thought because it's still. We went and had a look, and it was like it's got all this weird writing on the walls,
There's
and it looks
loads
like
of
it.
security as well.
Yeah, but there wasn't at the time. So we went on a Sunday, and we were like, right, let's just go for it. So we started loading all the gear on the back. It was muddy, so we had to like carry it all over mud. There was just mud everywhere. Got all the amps and everything in, and then about I don't know, we spent about an hour loading all the gear in, and then the guy just came in with like security stuff and just went, off you go. So we had to go
Yeah.
all the way, pack all the stuff back up, come all the way back to Cumbria, and then that's when Richie said, "Oh, I've got one other place." So that's when we went to a cavern, and no one bothered us.
See, we did a video at Stannington at the asylum.
Yeah.
I did a modelling shoot, and we got kicked off once. But then if you wait an hour and a half, the guy leaves, and then if you wait an hour and a half, he leaves, and then it's an hour and a half before the next guard comes.
Should
So
we'd known that.
insider knowledge.
Yeah.
And then to think that how it compared to ours, I had forms ready for the for McKnight's to sign and say yes, and we have the permission,
Location
and we've got.
disclosure forms.
And I was
all
going to print
sorts.
everything out so that if anyone did come to us, hold it up,
And I'm
ready.
like, oh, sod it, it'll be fine.
Yeah, they weren't bothered. And of course, the warehouse was actually within
Walking
300
distance.
meters of our studio, and within it was across the river from the band rehearsal space, so they didn't have to go very far. And the conditions were just perfect.
Cool.
And there was flapjack.
Yeah, I do make the best flapjack. It's known.
When was the video shoot?
It was in April.
And
Or
the
May.
flapjack was still in the studio as of last month, but I finally said, no, I'm throwing this away. I don't care
like
who made it.
90%
I
sugar,
don't
it's
care
good.
if anybody likes it. It's going in the bin.
So I did a bit of Facebook stalking when I came across you guys, and you put up a post about after you won the award, about
Okay.
people trying to put you down for that,
Mhm.
and that reminded me that was something I had when we back in the day. But I think if you're doing something right, you always get that.
Yeah.
Like it's usually people who they could have done it themselves, but they didn't, so they
Kinda
shit
mad.
on you for
Yeah,
you getting off your ass
exactly.
and doing it yourself.
Exactly.
That just reminded me of that.
I
Just-
think that's really sad. Anybody's capable of anything they want to do, provided they put the right amount of time and effort
Yeah.
into it.
Because they could have said, "Oh, well done," but instead, they,
So
you know.
they took a sulk. So okay, fine.
I mean,
But I take it as a compliment. That's what was my
Yeah.
point anyway.
we we couldn't have got to where we are without all the help and all the people encouraging us, our families and
Oh, yeah,
friends and
definitely.
people lending us a bit
Yeah,
of
and
cash.
for every person that's, you know, been jealous and said something silly, there's like 200 people that have gone, sod 'em.
Yeah.
Have there been many? I know there's been some entertaining drama of late, but
There's been a couple.
have there?
Yeah.
Swines.
You're always going to get that, especially on the internet where, you know, people can sit behind a screen and say whatever they want.
So what? I don't not naming people, but what sort of things of what made you put that post up?
It was a fuck you back, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, kind of. No, I just think jealousy is sad.
Yeah.
And I think that if jealousy is something that you can change, and it's a choice. You choose to be jealous of somebody, you know. But if you put that power into doing something,
Why not be inspired by somebody doing something good rather than being
and
jealous?
do your own thing somewhere else. I mean,
It takes effort, though. You've still
that's
got to
the
get out
point.
there and do it.
You've put the effort, you put the time in, you've got it off your ass, and you've done it, and you've got this
So-
thing going. Whereas they probably could have, but haven't.
But
So
chose
they
not
resent
to.
you for it. So
Yeah.
they'll try and talk shit about it, even though they probably admit that you've done well.
yeah.
We'd rather collaborate with
Oh yeah, definitely.
some
And we
well,
have done.
Yeah, with a couple of there are a number of other graphic designers and web designers and things like that in town, and we've sent each other work a few times,
Yeah.
and we'd much rather have that as a relationship than trying to we've had someone try to maybe undermine us or try and put us down because they're trying to set up their own rival thing, and it's a bit of a shame because
No,
It's a lot easier to
it's
work
just
together
sad.
than against each other, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And more fun.
I mean, your story about. I listened to the assistant manager of Brickyard,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nick Fuel or something.
Yeah,
like
Nick
that.
Yule,
Nick
yeah.
Yule. And yeah, if Embers and Brickyard can play off each other,
Exactly. Yeah, I've been saying that for a long
yeah,
time. but
Brickyard kicks out at midnight and bugger off to
it
Embers.
makes sense. There's nowhere else to go.
Exactly.
And plus, people who work behind a bar,
Yeah.
they want somewhere to go after 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
To relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And I believe there's a all-round hatred of Botchagate in this
Yep.
in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nowhere on Botchagate I'd go at all.
No, but if you just turn off,
Yeah.
Yep.
On the side street.
that said, we're very happy to work with any bars and restaurants who are on Botchagate.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
too. We know how to make it better.
We'd even work with a religious organisation, wouldn't we, Max?
Yes, of course.
Max.
It's all
specifically
design and-
non-religious, are you?
Max,
no.
Max does have a thing.
I don't have no opinion. Opinions are bad for business.
That's very true. That's very
As the
pragmatic of you.
business, we have no opinions about anything.
He's not met us, has
unless they don't pay the
At the end of the day, it's
invoices and-
business.
Or unless it involves hunting.
It's what's
or
best
bunny
for
rabbit.
business, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's what matters. That's what matters.
put your opinions aside
Yeah.
and
Drop
just do
them.
the job. So what have been some of your favourite projects so far?
I like working with friends, and I've got to mention our friends Craig and Tita, who I met before. Really, we started with Chunky Wombat, and they had a cafe in one place, and since then we've developed a really good friendship. And then they decided to move on and open a pub, and they went like, "Oh, Nat, can you do my logo?" And I was like, "Okay." And then to go along that journey with them I think that was probably one of the most special jobs for me, because they really cared about my opinion as a friend, not just as like a professional.
What's the name of the place?
So that's the Robin Hood at Smithfield.
Okay, right.
Really
We'll
nice guys.
Put a link to that in the
Yeah,
show notes.
definitely. That was probably one of our biggest jobs, and
So what did you
Yeah.
do for them?
so we did the logo, we did the signs, the menus, we did T-shirts, we did everything. Social
That's pretty
media,
cool. The full
graphics,
package.
Website?
website. I also work there on a Sunday behind the bar to help out a little bit.
That's good. Very good of you.
Yeah, we got involved in some of the refurb because the place was damaged from a fire previously.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
We didn't get to get our hands dirty as much as all the other people that helped, but
Right.
But we wanted to do something, with them being being
That's a
friends.
pretty
and
big
everything,
help.
so
what you guys did. So
yeah,
what is
that was
what
one
is
that
a
I really
business without its
enjoyed.
logo?
it
Yeah.
comes back around because we've got another new big client recently who said that a number of people have mentioned you, and
One being the guys from the Robin Hood, and
Yeah.
so
it's something that's really exciting for us, and we're so grateful, and we just want to try and, no matter how small the job is, because a lot of the time, whether it's at the start or halfway through, someone might just want a few printed flyers or something, and it might not be a big job compared to some of the others we have.
Still a job.
But it means the world to them,
Yeah.
and we're just trying to make sure that everyone is, handled with the same amount of care
Yeah, exactly.
and time.
Yeah.
And it can be really tough because not everyone out there is as organised. So suddenly there's always going to be someone, can we have something for this weekend? Or right, okay.
You don't want to say no, but at the same time, you're like, you're
Yeah.
asking quite a lot there.
Yeah.
I would need to have ordered these 24 hours ago. Let's see what we can do. And there are loads of little challenges.
So it's like, not a no, but it's like, let's see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
try. We'll try.
That's good.
Yeah, well, we've even had, because we got chatting to a few people, there was a recent client where we ended up helping them source performing artists for their event, and they didn't necessarily know the area, so we ended up on the phone with them every night, just trying to help them with their event, and we tried to do whatever we could to help out, so long as,
They're setting up projectors and taking photographs and all sorts of just shitty little jobs that no one else was doing. So we were just like, we'll do
I
this.
mean, you can really feel for them that they're when when
Floundering
people
a
are
bit.
launching companies, launching premises and events and stuff, and they're trying to do so much themselves because it's basically the two or three of us doing 90% of what's involved. You just know how tough it is, and how how many 16-hour days we did when we were starting out.
Yeah.
So you just want to get in and save them half an hour here or whatever.
Well, going back to the not saying no, that's kind of important if you're local and your word of mouth and stuff, is the fact
Yeah.
that you
And
went
it's
out of your way
Cumbria.
to try and sort, even though it was like, technically it's a no, but you still went out of your way to help them and you did something for them. Do you know what I mean? I think that's, people remember that, and that's what they tell other people if they're asking for suggestions
Yeah.
for companies and stuff.
Just don't make a habit of last minute stuff, please.
You have to. I think it was so important for us to be mentally prepared for a few things that we knew to expect. We knew that at some point we would inevitably make someone unhappy, or let someone down, or we'd have someone not pay for something. And you just, these things are going to happen to anyone. And
It's part of the job, isn't it?
yeah. And then knowing that, okay, well, this is our first unhappy client. Thankfully, it's basically happened 1 or 2, 3 times.
Yeah, percentage is
Fingers
real small.
crossed, touch wood.
Yeah, high success rate.
Oh,
We'll call it that,
trying our
okay, yeah.
best.
It's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So who, before they get offended if we didn't mention them, so who are the other people that work for you, or what do they do? Like the ones on the mention on the website.
Work with us. There's most recent
semi-permanent guy, Arnie. So Arnie,
Guy.
yeah, she's a dude. She's I call everybody dude, right?
She's the web whisperer.
She is
She's
the
a
web
lovely
whisperer.
lass.
She's fabulous. She's originally from New Orleans, so she's
Via Texas, via Seattle.
yeah. So
How on earth has
she's
she ended up in
mental.
Carlisle?
What a poor child.
It's quite a sweet story.
It's
Online
an
love.
online love story.
Oh God,
A
I've heard a few of
fellow,
these
fellow
before.
So
musician.
cute. Yeah,
Right.
She's been here for
15 years.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
and
So-
she loves Carlisle.
someone has to.
So she came over for relationship reasons.
Yeah.
Did it work out?
Yeah.
Yeah, still
Oh, right.
married, have a kid.
That's the first one that I've heard of.
So
That they
nice,
come
isn't
over
it?
and it actually it lasts.
Annie's one of those delightful creatures. I remember she came in for a little interview thing, and she was just so talkative, and I'm quite talkative, and and Max was just sat there like, this is like two women just like for an hour, and then she left, and she followed it up with the longest email I have ever experienced, which was just a continuation of the jabbering, because she'd realised that Max had asked questions that we ignored, so she answered them in an email.
follow-up
and
email.
I just thought it was the sweetest thing.
That's
and I
very
was
thorough.
Like,
That
yeah,
that's
that's
good.
a thorough job.
That's
That's the kind of girl we
That's
need.
a good quality.
And
That actually.
yeah.
Well,
So she's been here for she's been with us for 4 or 5 months now, and she's kind of one of these people that you love, But she sticks to you like glue as well. She's such a team player, and like she's come up like she came on board as a freelancer, and now she's like, oh no, I'm a wombat now.
I'm a wombat.
I'm a wombat now. That's it.
You got like crew shirts. That's what you need to get.
We've got a few printed up here. Oh, is he wearing one? He's wearing one.
With crew
I'll have to get one of those. I'll wear it on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll give you one of those.
It was surprising how many people asked us, oh, where can we have one of your T-shirts, or can we buy the hoodies and so on.
We're going to need 2 for here, though.
Yeah, we're going to need 2. Definitely.
But
Sweet.
Arnie came on when we were, Nat is kind of the golden goose.
Right.
And we knew that we wanted to roll out, film and all that at least 6 months in.
Mm-hmm.
But Nat was doing pretty much everything, including a lot of websites, and it wasn't really fair. So we were looking for someone to take on a lot of those jobs and also offer a level of dedication to it rather than a graphic designer who can...
Someone who, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And
specialism.
that meant having someone else on who was more dedicated meant that the whole team learned more and more stuff. So it just meant that all...
That's true, yeah.
And then the whole package that we can offer, trying to be a one-stop shop for businesses, has just been so much stronger now. And pretty much everything is all the boxes are ticked.
Yeah.
Since Arnie came on, we also had Ray, who is he isn't yet as directly involved, but he's been just a lovely guy to have along. He's
what does he do?
Well, he specialises in SEO, so that's search engine optimization, keyword research.
He's going to work.
It's very important these
hand in
days.
hand with Arnie,
analytics, the whole.
It really matters.
We also had Arnie's son Dylan. We had
Who's 14.
Sean, who was
Dilly Boo.
And we had him printing mugs. I had him tied to a table.
Was it like
printing
work
mugs
experience?
Yeah, it is.
Summer holidays.
Summer holiday
Of course,
experience.
yeah,
so
yeah.
he popped.
That's pretty cool work experience.
He loved it, didn't he? He
Well,
got so
yeah.
involved.
It also meant that the age range within the studio at one point.
It was 50 years between the oldest and the youngest member, which it's just brilliant. But everyone's equally as nuts. It's a really great dynamic.
Yeah, we're all quite sensitive our own ways and everything. So you're not because you always get these quite hardened business types who are in charge of, say, a team of designers and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're all kind of trying to keep each other going. And
So was her name Arnie?
Arnie.
Spell Annie.
Not
With
like
an I.
Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
But we
What's
pronounce
her is that an actual? What's her full name?
Arnie
Arnie?
Hammer.
Arnie Hamer.
Not Army Hammer. Not Army Hammer, the actor. That, was
That's a
the
cool
Lone
name.
Ranger recently.
That's a
I
cool
hadn't
name.
realised
That's
that
like a
until
showbiz
this
name.
moment. Yeah.
She got that down.
She's absolutely wonderful character. She did so much for us, helping us out with a few projects early on, and has introduced us to loads of cool people. There was an article in, was it Carlisle Living?
About her and her love story,
Yeah.
which is a good read.
Yeah.
I'll have
I
to look
nearly
that one up.
cried.
But it was
Wow.
Yeah.
But she didn't have to, but she mentioned us a lot, and we were really grateful for that.
Yeah.
And dragged us into the picture.
Yeah.
It's all right. That picture didn't make the magazine, so we're safe.
No,
but
did it?
no, I'm good. It was not a good hair day for me.
So
Yeah.
how many altogether? How many of us is there? Would you say,
Well, we
including
forgot-
full time and like
we didn't
part
really
time?
mention Sean over, did we?
I tried.
had
I nearly
BPM.
did. Sean was again someone that Nat worked with prior to Chunky Wombat, and he's only 18.
He's
But-
just gone away to uni last week, and
Yeah.
you know when you feel like your kid's first day at school, I was like, "Oh, you look so smart."
But he's
He's
gone to
gone.
do graphic design.
He's gone to do
So he'll come back
3D.
even better,
He
more of
can
an
come back,
asset.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
hopefully.
If he comes
He could
back,
come back with
Come
proper
Christmas.
skills.
Yes,
Yeah.
Come Christmas, you'll probably know a few things. We can give
yeah,
him a few days worth.
teach you guys a few
Yeah.
things.
Well, he has there's
Squeeze him out of him and then send him back.
his twin sister Chloe has gone off to do video production, I believe, as well.
So when
So
they come back,
Yeah.
they belong to us.
You can nab them.
Or
Yeah.
they'll be our competition.
No. That's not how. No, that's not the arrangement
Graphic
we
design and
discussed.
film.
Oh,
That's what we do, isn't
we
it?
didn't-
Simulate competition.
We didn't tell you what we call our work experience / assistants.
Younger members. Of
Yeah. Because
Go on then.
Cool.
What's a baby wombat called?
I don't know. I'll guess that, but I didn't know what one was called.
A Joey.
A Joey.
It's like a kangaroo.
Aw,
So we got the Joeys.
yeah.
That's cute.
And Ross is a stinky old marsupial.
So
I'm the chunkiest wombat.
Oh, yeah. Max is chunky, I'm chunkier, and he's chunkiest.
Because we started, of course, to come up with what else rhymes with this, or what adjectives can we use.
So I want to open a gym called the Hunky Wombat.
That's good.
And
That's my next
there's
one.
a dance club called the Funky Wombat.
Which is 60s, 70s disco.
Disco stew.
For some reason, I immediately went to the porn. But
What about a coffee shop called the Frothy Wombat?
Ooh.
There you go.
Ooh.
Wombat works with everything.
That could also be like a series of romance novels. For, lonely old housewives.
What about
Frothy Wombat.
what about an ice cream bar called the Chunky Wombat?
Yeah, let's see if we get
Willy Wonka. we got one.
We're
Got
getting there.
one on him.
You need to get all these patented.
Yeah, it's got to be done.
The Daredevil Cocky Wombat.
What?
That's the porn thing he was
That's
talking
out there
about.
now.
I think.
That's out there.
Daredevil Cocky Wombat.
Well,
What's
No.
that? What,
He just
what,
wanted
what
to
say-
say,
Ambitious.
just wanted to say cock on a
What service does
podcast.
that
We all
provide?
know it.
nothing about a service. I'm just thinking of characters now.
No, we've just come up with shops and services, dude.
Yeah, you're right.
Daredevil
He's just gone off
Cocky
on it
Wombat.
somewhere
I know.
completely
He's,
different.
he's different.
So which one of you? Who's the copywriter?
Me.
I'm an idiot. So what does a copywriter do? Explain to me.
Any text, any body of text in a website,
Leaflet.
anything that's copy. From,
Okay.
like journalism copy
Right.
in a paper.
It sounded
even
quite
naming things, Ross.
official, kind of like.
Even naming things.
Mm.
Like
Well-
beers.
Oh, that's true. That was my favourite job. You asked that earlier. Many moons ago, my doctor told me I should switch to wine and drink as much as I want for my health, which was handy.
Switch to wine from.
Just beer, wheat
Okay.
beers usually, lager, and then February?
A little later than that.
A lovely little local brewery out of the Brackenrig Inn, Bracken Brew. They said,
Oh, yes.
can we get some new labels? Also, we need to name our beers. And so I took to the task.
Right.
I did a shitload of research, and I now have a love of beer.
So what was the name?
The 5. We had to come up with 5 new beers.
Wow.
There was
Bracken Brew.
The Bracken Brew is the company,
Right.
and we've got Alfred's Ale.
Mm-hmm.
So
Old
you
Water
you named
Blondes.
them all?
Yes, we named them all.
Well,
with
they,
some input from them.
yeah, they we offered them a list in the end,
Yeah,
and
it was
they
a back and
Yeah, we
forth
just kept
and
drafting it down.
to the favourites.
Oh,
So
that's
we
cool.
have Alfred's Pale Ale. We have the Ullswater Steamers.
did Ganyam make the cut?
Ganyam didn't make the cut,
I
unfortunately.
tried, I
Mel?
tried to throw in some
Area
Cumbrian
Force.
slang.
I think Ganyam's more northeast.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah.
I've only
Nah.
ever heard it here.
It's
Close yet,
Cumbrian.
gun yam.
Thing is, we're
Sure,
dirty
yeah.
Southerners. We had to look up all these expressions.
And I was like, for God's sake, guys.
I've heard
Pick
it.
another
I've heard
language.
close yet, gun yam.
Shut ya.
Pardon?
Yeah, shut yet, gun yam.
Shut ya, Ganyam.
Are you
Close the
familiar
gate,
with,
we're going home.
Are you familiar with Dickie Dippinson?
No.
No.
I'm guessing you are.
That could be a new character, couldn't it?
Do you know who he is?
yeah.
He's like about as Cumbrian as it gets. Like
Give it a Google.
Well,
some of his videos. His videos are funny. He did a
Hilarious.
Cumbrian version of Fresh Prince. All about Dickie from Sharp. He just dips sheep. It's worth a watch.
Is there a suitable theme tune to that? I mean, did he take the Fresh Prince theme tune and
Yeah, he's
cover it up?
Rehashed
He
it.
did. That's what he did. It's really good. To be fair, and I've seen him. He must be a musician at somewhere because he can play like the music and
Yeah.
sing at the same time. Like it's an art to make. He makes it look amateurish and like he's not very good,
But
but to
that's an
do
art
that
form in
takes a
itself.
skill. I can
Yeah.
tell just by watching him.
Yeah.
What's the other thing? Oh yeah, you've got drones now.
Yeah, we wanted to. Well, a while ago we thought we would get into it ourselves, but we with us teaming up with freelancers who could then dedicate their time and all their research time into their skill, and that means that I could then specialize in, say, camera, Ross
Yeah.
into copy and other stuff.
Everything else.
The requests had come up before, and we thought, well, instead of Googling it last minute, we'd rather meet with people who we can become part of the team.
Who already do drones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people who specialise
They have the
and who are
knowledge.
going to be
Rather
on
than you guys have
call.
to get a book and go, how do you do a drone?
Yeah, I'd crash at
Yeah.
about 6 before we got anywhere.
You know, you end up with, it's like suppliers, you know, for what you need, you end up refining the list until you got the people you can rely on and you trust, and who
good quality stuff.
Who either do favors for you or send work both ways and so on.
Yeah, so if you just commission them for we need drones for this, and they would just do it for you.
Yeah, and then it means that we know what the costs are going to be. We know that all the security stuff, all the insurance stuff is sorted, because there are a lot of people in the lakes who do drones and
illegally.
Well,
there
isn't the same amount of
area with the whole, because I've got a drone, but it's only like a cheap one.
If you do it, if you operate a drone for commercial reasons, you need to officially get a civil aviation authority. You need to get a pilot's license, effectively.
Right. And commercial reasons is far more broad than people realise, and the amount of insurance that we know someone who
you're flying an aircraft.
Yeah,
that's the way it's considered. It doesn't matter the size of the drone.
£6,000 a year he was paying on insurance alone.
Plus, there's the privacy and all that sort of stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. You have to
you have to close roads. You have to.
You're always paying for 2 days' work, even if it's a day's shoot. It's another day's work for them to do all the prep and contact all the authorities and do it properly.
Clearance and all that. Yeah.
But we wanted to work with people who would do that, so that we know we don't have to worry about anything. The client doesn't have to worry about anything. They take care of that and just
do what you need them to do.
Yeah, it was so important to us to have everything above board and just have no worries at all.
No, I was looking to get my license early last year, but sadly no sod bought my house. So I didn't have a surplus of cash.
Oh.
you need a couple of grand and you need a couple of weeks, and I had it all set up, and it looks fascinating. It looks cool, and I'd have been able to operate any size drone, so the full size ones that full time productions use.
Because I was at Derwentwater, the lake by Keswick, a couple of months ago, and I was with my girlfriend, and we were walking along the right along by the shore, and there's these two guys with they must have been for some big company. They had two proper, they looked like had lights and really big beefy drones, but they had these I don't know what they were. It was like a computer terminal in front of them where they were looking at the screen
on a holster.
Where they were also looking right into it. So there's two of them, and I was just thinking, it reminded me of everyone played Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You know when you get after a certain kill streak, you get a call on it there.
Yeah.
Like that, but you have to stop. You're vulnerable. You just stop looking. They play Call of Duty.
well, there's three ways you can fly them. You can fly them with goggles.
Yeah.
You can fly them with some kind of monitor, so it could be your phone.
Yeah.
Or you could just fly it blind.
Yeah.
But then you can't see what the camera's seeing.
That's it. Yeah.
I actually, a few weeks ago, I did a quick job with the BBC, and I got to be a drone spotter for a day.
Didn't even know that was a job.
Oh yeah, because
I reckon he was bullshit. And he was just off doing something random.
The pilot was very experienced and everything, but this was a bit. It was. Do you remember the? It was the cavalry at the castle. There was a big event about
Roman cavalry.
Yeah,
like a reenactment type thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So you're talking hundreds of people, loads of horses, all kinds of stuff that could go wrong. But so, he was concentrating on the monitor and if you've got someone free, so to the crew, send him to me while I'm flying to keep an eye out for stuff. So there I am on the side of the of the arena with a radio, just looking up at the sky, missing all the event. and then every now and again, bird close. Oh, never mind. Anytime the tiniest thing, you just tell him, and then he'd look up, and just to be sure. But you have to be really careful.
Oh yeah, the whole damn things are really convoluted. And the decent crews like the guys we've got involved with.
Who are the guys? You want to give them a shout out?
Can we?
Alex and Ross, part of the team.
What's that? Have they set up their own company, or they've got the?
Yeah.
Whirly Rig.
Yeah, so we teamed up with Whirly Rig, and they're based in
Newcastle way, I believe.
Newcastle.
All right, cool.
Gateshead maybe.
Cool.
But yeah, they have you have a pilot and a camera up.
Right. I think that's what those guys, what I saw, were doing. One of them had the camera, and one of them was like.
One was driving.
Probably, and hopefully,
yeah. That's how they set it up. And we met them a while ago, and they're lovely. We haven't yet had.
And they write really good copy on their website.
Gets your
the
seal
Ross
of approval.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what are your future plans then going forward? Have you got any expansion plans, or have you got any cool projects in the pipeline?
We want to expand into all the other rooms around our unit in the
Take over the whole
Yeah,
building,
take
the whole
over
complex.
Well, the other two units right next to ours aren't used. Well, they're used. One's for storage, but nobody ever goes in there. And one's
Right.
an office, and nobody ever uses it.
Right.
So I
And
want it.
We'd have
Yeah.
an
And,
entire floor
yeah.
with like the floor space of
That would be
I suppose
cool.
a football pitch and combined. So yeah, that'd
Yep.
be cool.
Which means
So
I
they-
can buy some really, really big fancy gear.
They
More.
keep talking about these expansion plans, but I'm the one keeping an eye on how much rent we still owe. So
Of course.
one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Knock a wall out.
Damn
It's
it.
the same unit. Surely.
So
Yeah.
for you three, is this your full-time job?
It is now. Yeah.
These two, I'm only part time.
Okay. So how long has it been? How long has that been the case?
It feels like forever.
Since 1st of October last year.
Yeah. And I do a couple of part-time things. Well,
That's cool.
I occasionally walk a dog and occasionally pull pints in a bar. So
Well, this was the thing
For
with bringing
spending
Natalie in. I
money.
mean, just diversify all your revenue streams as much as possible.
Yeah,
and-
definitely.
And
Mhm.
the damn thing works.
That's cool.
If we can if the only thing we've got is printing mugs, at least it's money.
Exactly. Exactly. You just got to work to your strengths, haven't you?
You know, we've only done a handful of filming gigs. Officially for Chunky, we've only done 2.
It's well, like we were saying, we weren't really promoting ourselves nearly as much as we should be, but that was particularly visible with film because we were so busy on loads of ongoing stuff,
Yeah.
which was again a good position to be in.
Yeah.
We haven't really pushed what we can do on the video side, which I'm not too bothered about
which
because
I'm hoping we can do soon because now I'm freed up with Arnie helping me with the web stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a little bit more leeway for you guys to do a bit more.
I want to get members and film.
No, you don't.
I mean,
I do.
for music videos for bands, for instance, I've got a fairly good idea now of what's involved, what kind of
Mhm.
costs they should expect,
Yeah. So you've been
how
able
much
to like
time it takes.
been able to refine the whole process.
Yeah, 'cause I'm still really pleased that the first one we did, entirely by ourselves,
Mm.
it was we stuck to schedule, and the edit time wasn't particularly long. I thought, considering it was done alongside other stuff, it only took a couple of weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and shooting it was one day. It took a couple of days to prep. It's definitely something we could, for lack of a better word, churn out.
Mm.
We could do one a month easily. So
I'd like to do one a month.
yeah,
Which we could if we went to members.
Yeah.
There's enough bands playing. We could film. I'm sure.
and there are loads of ideas that still we want to explore as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, they said they wanted to do some filming stuff in there, like as promotional stuff, just
Mm.
to see,
Yeah.
look at the new venue. This is what we've done. Clips of bands playing,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's good
I
for.
think that's probably our next
So
job.
have you guys got a fairly active YouTube channel then?
We don't.
No.
We don't, no.
Oh no, we do have one.
You have
But
one.
We
we don't.
We had for a while we were doing
Wombat
little-
Wanders.
yeah. So that was just us going off on hiking trips and
It was just Max with an Osmo videoing my bum for like a good 4 hours in an afternoon and editing it down to 10 minutes.
Every
Smug
time.
little face.
I was just like,
you got to get viewers in somehow.
it would have been nice to have been asked, but
Do you guys know what an Osmo is?
So it's
It's just the gimbal you'd get on a drone,
Ah, okay.
effectively. On a DJI drone. Max has just got a handheld version.
yeah, it's
Right.
like carrying a
It
GoPro
keeps
in
it
front
stabilized.
Yeah.
of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for things like traveling or hiking, exploring and stuff,
you
it's
get a
really
real
handy.
stable view of my bum.
Wow.
Yeah.
or just everyday filming. I mean, gimbals and drones. You don't necessarily need a jib. You don't necessarily need a slider. You don't necessarily need a lot of kit that you would normally
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
A lot of
Versatile.
times you don't need a tripod.
And the idea there was just, we're going to the lake somewhere. Let's just record a bit of video and throw it onto as a side project. We ended up being a bit too busy to do that every other weekend, but maybe if we get better organised.
We've not discussed it in any seriousness, but we've mentioned a podcast. We've mentioned.
I was thinking that. Yeah,
a
that'd be a good
vlog.
idea.
Because we were both involved with USCTV years ago,
Mm.
and that was the uni's
University of Cumbria Television.
Yeah, that was what was going to be a YouTube channel was a Vimeo thing, and then
Good old Vimeo.
yeah,
Still going.
Yeah.
and loads of different people worked on that.
Because you guys could talk to other creative people and people that you work with and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
one
tell
of the
stories
ideas,
from our clients.
Yeah.
And, you know, business journeys and life journeys and
Good content
of
for your
thing.
YouTube channel.
yeah.
one of the ideas then was a podcast, and I was quite keen on the idea. But yeah, maybe we should have a think about it.
We do have the
because,
space.
Yeah, and Annie's got some sound
Recording
equipment. I'm sure she wouldn't
equipment.
mind us borrowing.
Borrowing without asking.
We could still turn the hot desk room into a decent enough room for audio.
Actually, the room that
Has
Friend
all
of-
my nice printers in.
the other one was.
Or we could record in Tita's massage studio.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that
I feel like
was
we're listening on a staff meeting here.
that was dynamic radio a
first and
while
only.
ago.
Yeah, it was.
Years ago now.
Yeah. Dynamic radio hasn't been around for a long time.
No, but they were nice guys.
Is radio still going? Any radio?
Some, but it's on the decline. It's all about podcasts these days.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Do you too? I know you.
I
Obviously, you
watch-
said you
I-
listen
all
to.
I watch is on demand. You know, I
Yeah.
watch streaming stuff and listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
I've listened to 3 Joe Rogan podcasts today, 2 of yours.
Wow.
Sorry, I've watched one and listened to one
Okay. Right.
on the train and watched 2 of yours.
Cool.
You're asking about long-term plans, though. One of the hopes for us was, we're starting to get involved in the community in different ways, but one thing on our wish list is to be able to offer work experience and maybe even training, especially to students, maybe even of college kind of age.
That's
If-
cool.
Or people, if any young people want to just hang out with us for an
Give
hour.
them a reason for us to go to film at Embers.
Yeah.
Do you like give them an
Get the
opportunity
videos
in it?
out.
Because there aren't many opportunities. Or
Yeah,
people,
'cause-
people, or people giving young people opportunities when they,
Well, yeah,
if they
Carlisle's,
study like
Carlisle's the smallest damn city I've ever seen, and
Yeah.
I mean, I got up here in '98. I
Right.
came up here in Newton Rig. There was a fucking huge, vibrant music scene in Penrith.
I'm from Newcastle and I came here in '99 and I went to Newton Rig.
What did you do?
IT.
No, I was a gamekeeper.
Right. That was very popular there.
We like to nick things and shoot things. And
But yeah, there
that's-
was a
that's
music
pretty
scene then.
much
You're right.
There's
There
a
was.
huge scene. There's a huge scene, and that's just disappeared.
It has. It's been shrinking.
Well, yeah, there were 23 pubs when I got there.
Oh, that side of it. as
Pubs
well.
alone.
Yeah.
Pubs alone. I
Yeah.
think there's only 15 now.
Yep. All the ones on the outskirts of any town or city just sort of slowly
Disappearing.
disappear, and it's just all getting more centralised.
And I don't really know Carlisle that well, but it doesn't appear to have that many venues. Well, it appears to have plenty of venues, but you can't rock up as a 15-year-old band.
No. Well, that's part of what Embers wants to sort
Yeah,
out,
yeah, yeah.
which is why I thought that was a
Definitely.
brilliant idea.
Lots of youth projects and stuff.
Because like you guys offering work experience and them offering like young bands, there aren't many, especially in R&D, places for people to go. It's all 'cause you, like you were saying on that last episode. You can't just start at the Brickyard.
Yeah, exactly.
300
exactly.
capacity. Here you go.
Yeah,
Oh God.
You can't do that.
It's a bit daunting.
terrifying.
And you've got
Teenagers,
to build up the
Jesus.
confidence first. And I think
It's a bit more relaxed at club.
You're
well,
going
I
to be
was gonna say
shit
Club Rock,
anyway.
but
You're going to be
Embers, yeah.
shit to start with. You're going to be shit to start with.
Well,
you don't,
yeah.
You don't
Oh,
want
yeah,
to
yeah.
start out with 300
And if anyone
people
has
in
got
front of
these
Exactly.
false perceptions of themselves, that'll be put right when you play
Yeah,
your first gig in
exactly.
front of people and people like leave.
We were already talking with them about there was a night in I think it was Bath with 5 unsigned, so it'd be 5 bands that weren't signed to anywhere, and it was for some of them the first time performing.
Yeah.
They do 2 or 3 songs, and they bring, there might be loads of different bands that know each other from college or something, so they're kind of there to support each other.
Yeah.
There was when the college was still at Brampton Road, there was the end of year show, wasn't there?
Mhm.
So some people were in bands, some people were DJing and so on. But that kind of event could probably be moved to Embers. That's one idea anyway.
it'd be fun to film.
Mm-hmm.
Although I've not been in since it's Embers. I went in there.
No, I haven't
was
yet
dragged
either.
a few times by when it was Club Rock, and we need some lights. Lots of
Yeah, it was
lots of
very
lights.
it was very dark in there.
Just taking the black vinyl off the windows made a hell of a difference.
Yeah.
Don't think
Those-
that place had seen sunlight in.
Those lovely windows that you printed up some lovely
yeah,
stickers for.
Yeah, those ones.
Oh, they were telling us that story about when you weren't there for that time. They had a meeting about the colours or something.
Yeah,
I'm
that
really
was the bit we
particular
listened
about
to
my
earlier.
colours. I was like, no, that'll look terrible against my logo. Quick, tell them something else.
Because
I was really upset.
Nat has, Nat had the say on the decor of the studio as well as most of my house, and
That's what
is
I do.
offering suggestions for. Oh, and the Robin Hood.
Oh yeah,
How did you?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What about that other pub?
So we were thinking
Am
of
I just a
offering
real
interior
dominating
design.
character?
As
Okay,
an
right,
episode.
yeah. Yeah, why not?
Throw that one in there as well. I'll pick your paint colours. They'll go with your logo.
That's the
what
full
I
package.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I did at Embers, and they were all like, "Oh, you were right, Nat," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That's what I do. Colours.
Hey, that's my line.
That's what I do.
That's what I do. So you guys all fairly into your rock, heavy metal?
I am.
Metal?
Ross isn't.
None of that.
Okay.
We
What
are.
are you into?
Almost everything but.
Okay. What, you actually hate heavy metal?
No, I don't hate it. I don't choose to listen to it.
You like the
I can't
80s
be
stuff.
arsed.
Bit of 80s rock.
I
and
like
light
almost.
metal.
I think you're all damn liars if you don't. If you don't like Taylor Swift, Shake It Off. You're bloody lying. You're lying. You've all tapped your bloody foot to it. You've all caught yourself singing along to it.
That doesn't mean
It's
it's good
far
though.
from the worst
No.
pop
Pop
song.
is not
Catchy.
called pop because it's snap, crackle, and pop. It's popular.
I've-
I'm not
Yeah,
saying
this is
all
a-
pop is
it's-
good. I'm not saying any.
This is a
all
whole other
genre
debate about
of
popular
good is
music,
good.
though.
We're starting one now.
Almost
Yeah.
almost all well done music is well done. It's
musically
good.
speaking,
It might not be your cup of tea, but it works and it's good.
I think most days in the studio, it's some kind of 80s playlist with a bit of 70s, or we
90s
started
grunge,
off because we were
Alice in
both.
Chains.
Nat and I had similar tastes in metal, so it'd be atmospheric black metal and stuff like that. So at the start there was a lot of blast beat in the studio, but then it,
And
we
Ross put
needed
his foot
something a
down.
bit uplifting.
I've heard of things called thrash and death and black. I know these are terms that you put in front of metal.
Okay.
Couldn't distinguish them.
I listened to things like Death Grind, and then in the car it's Classic FM.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'm kind of the annoying elitist at the back of the room who says, "Well, Bloodstock isn't heavy enough for me, and not enough blast."
I've been
Well,
going to
I'm kind of with you.
Bloodstock for
I don't
9
like
years.
I don't like death metal. I don't like the screaming vocals and all. I like the more melodic side of metal.
Yeah. If it's got to be, if you can actually
Yeah.
listen to it, if it's not just thrash and scream, no, I just don't see the damn point.
Did you guys go to Bloodstock?
It's my 9th year this year.
Wow.
I'm a
I
vet.
usually do Hellfest.
Hellfest is a good one.
Hellfest is a good one. But Bloodstock is closer.
I went to
It's true.
Edenfest, by the way.
Yay.
Previous podcast.
What
I believe it's on twice.
What, Soulfest?
Yeah.
No, Edenfest.
Oh, have you been to Soulfest?
Oh,
though?
no.
I've filmed Soulfest.
I've
You
been
would
to
like
two.
Soulfest is
You
good.
like
I've been to
Soulfest.
Edenfest and I've been to Kendall Calling, but I've only worked at Kendall Calling.
Have you guys worked with any other festivals? Or
Well, no, I worked with
Well, Maddie Pryor.
Melatonin
Stones.
Film.
Yeah, we
on,
started something up with
at
them.
Selfest a couple of years ago, or maybe 3 or 4 years ago by now. Bloody hell. So that was fun. But then with the uni, we got involved with Kendall Calling twice. First year.
Over 75,000 views on YouTube.
good work.
So if I remember right, the first year we would kind of taken up to do editing while other
Well, yeah, we
people were
on site we had this little acoustic set. And
Lakeside Sessions.
Yeah,
that was it.
Lakeside Sessions, and a number of bands, some you've never heard of. A lot of local bands, but then some that have blown up. Damn, what's the Irish band?
Yeah, but there's that the blonde girl who was recently in the charts.
The blonde girl that was recently in the charts.
Oh.
Nina Nesbitt, the Scottish one.
No.
There was Lucy Rose.
That's it, Lucy Rose.
She's a redhead, famously a redhead, but I'll let it go. Codaline, they were the biggest ones
Oh,
there,
yeah,
the first year.
I've heard of them.
But then, the second year we were we were
Colt
part of the
45
crew on
second
site.
year.
I got the fun job of doing sound, so I was really chuffed with that. Doing, you're miking up a 6-piece band with 2 shotgun mics. That was fun.
In
and
the
then we
heavy
had,
rain.
Yeah, and we had
All weekend.
4 cameras on it. So it's just loads of students who went down and took on different jobs.
Yeah.
And then we got back and edited all the clips together. So it was.
I got the lovely job of running a tent. All they did was,
Won't let you run a
for
band.
advertisement purposes for the uni. So they had like some creative writing people. They had some English students. They had a stage, and they actually gave lectures at the Damn Festival. And that was my job. Second year. Oh, Ross, can you come and help? Oh, I'm not going to go this year, Clive. Come and help, please. Okay. You can be in charge of a venue. Oh, all right then.
Twisted
And
your
bloody lectures.
And I got to
Short
sit
straw.
in a chair with another chair and a sound kit, and just, okay, can you run through the loudest bit of the song and do that about 18 times over the weekend?
I was probably in a drunk heap somewhere, so
But yeah, that festival still blows me away. I
Yeah.
mean, Snoop
It's
Dogg,
good stuff.
Run DMC, C6 Steve, James. I
Yeah.
mean,
keep pulling them out the bag.
Yeah,
Don't they?
that's good.
It's insane.
That Maddie Pryor, that Stepping Stones Festival, is that what you were referring
Yeah,
to?
we started the ball rolling. I can't remember how far
So
we
we
got
played there
along.
last year to have a heavy metal band playing it.
We-
We were like, should we really be? Have we
Were you
invited
involved
involved with
right?
the
This is the wrong festival.
Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Well,
I
'cause-
started it all off. I got him in.
So you found the gig, but then I went to shoot it, and I think, was it Charlie who edited it? So yeah, we were
think so,
involved
yeah.
with the Kickstarter video
right.
for that. But then
But
I
not
never
the
actually
festival
went
itself.
to. No, I didn't go to the festival itself. I think some of the other students from the uni were involved with that.
Yeah, we just did the Kickstarter one. I did all the initial meetings, set it all up, found the crew, blah blah blah.
It was a weird one to play as like the only heavy metal band playing there, and probably that they've ever.
Was
Yeah.
it at the same venue?
The first and the last.
Yeah, it
old
was at the-
stately home without
yeah.
a roof. Yeah.
Yeah, we played on the sort of. It was kind of indoor. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
a. But
Just
the
some
main
strung up
stage was
tarps or something.
around the corner, and that finished as we were playing. So loads of people came in, and it was like half the people were like into that and loved it. The other half weren't, but they all came and said, "Not my kind of thing," but I thought that was really good. So we said, "We'll take that."
Take that and run.
That's
Yeah.
probably the best you can hope for.
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah. Any metal that Metallica's probably the heaviest I'll get.
That's fine by me.
and thanks to Mr. Rogan, even metalheads aren't as metal as they used to be. James Hetfield
That's
grows
true.
bees, for Christ's sake.
Exactly. Yeah. Family man.
He collects honey and gives it to his neighbours.
We're all cute. We're all cute behind
He also
closed
bow
doors.
hunts, but
Yeah. Well, he's always done that.
well, James Hetfield.
Yeah, I know.
Mm.
But that's why I like about podcasts, because where else would he have gone
Love
on and
him,
talk
yeah.
about that?
Yeah,
You
just
never
so-
would have.
well,
You never
yeah,
would have
I mean,
found that
as-
out.
As
Need
it
to get
keeps
it off
coming
your
up,
chest.
as it keeps coming up in Rogan, I mean, the long form conversations are absolutely fascinating.
Well, you don't get that on the radio anymore.
Yeah. I
Or
mean,
on TV shows.
6.5 minutes.
Like if
Then an advert.
your favorite like sports personality or just celebrity or whatever, if they're on like a chat show, what they're on 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and they're always promoting something.
Not even that. Yeah.
So they've got pre-thing that they're obviously going to get
Say
asked.
hello, smile, share an anecdote,
Tell a funny
do
story,
something
yeah.
stupid, plug the film.
And then
Yeah.
shove some adverts in your face.
Do you remember the Parkinson interview on Top Gear, where he was saying how he liked to get the plug out of the way first,
Yeah.
so they could actually talk to them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked that.
Yeah.
idea.
Well, that's the thing about podcasts is, you can. It's fine if you want to come on and plug something, but you're gonna go past that. So I always find it interesting if you're gonna find people. You're gonna get past the layers that you normally hear.
See the
Mhm.
Past
personality.
that. It's,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like an onion podcast. Slowly peels away until you get. Oh, I don't know this about this person now.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like-
I mean, just bring somebody on, maybe bring in a doctor, but a neuroscientist or something. And then
Well,
you end up
that's the
talking
thing about the Joe Rogan one is
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes you think, do I want to listen to this? But I usually
and
do,
it's
and it's
utterly
quite interesting.
fascinating
Yeah,
and
like
funny as fuck.
yeah, because have you seen the Hardcore History one, the Dan
Yeah,
Carlin
Dan
one?
Carlin one, yeah.
Like I used to hate history at school, but I've realised, looking back now, because my teacher was shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no, there's a
It's all in the
fantastic...
delivery.
I
Yeah.
can't remember. I think it was about Genghis Khan, but they were saying there were some Chinese guys that were coming across, and they thought there was these snow-capped mountains in the distance, and they got closer and closer and closer, and they thought, hang on, that's not a mountain, and they got closer and closer and closer, and there was like the bones of 1 million people that just piled up from the distance.
I
It
love
looked
that
like
they've
a
taken the
snow-capped
time
mountain.
to do that.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot of deaths.
Well, people say like the thing about radio is like people. I don't know if people don't believe the fact that like long form conversation is the way forward, because his like Hardcore History, like 5 hours, 6 hours. They
Yeah,
come out
can
once
be.
every
Yeah,
5
yeah,
or 6
yeah,
months,
yeah.
and they're the most downloaded podcasts ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people do want to listen to it. Like, but
And
if
free.
I had a teacher who spoke like that at school, I would have paid a lot more attention.
Well, yeah, well, you just don't have the time, do you?
No. But-
Certainly the first secondary school I went to, the lessons were only half hour long.
Yeah, but you still had your favourite teachers who, in
Yeah,
some
yeah.
subjects, they obviously loved what they were doing and it came across, so you paid attention because they were into it and you got that. But other teachers they just went through the book.
Read from
I
a textbook.
suspect
Just
many
like-
of them started out all enthusiastic and
The
with
kids
loads of
slowly beat
I'm
that
going
out
to
of
be different.
Yeah.
I'm going to be different. I'm going to be entertaining, and then you have these little so and so's who ruin it.
A fresh new crop of wankers every year.
and it's got worse as the years have gone on.
Yeah, hasn't it though?
Has
I
it?
would not want to be a
Has
teacher
it?
now.
Well, the job perhaps.
The
I don't
children,
No, but
think
you said
kids
that-
children
necessarily-
the-
are worse year on year.
No, kids know more, but I don't think they're any worse than they were.
I think
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
I think
I don't.
They are.
teaching now is a whole different world than it was 20 years ago.
I think they just
Well,
know more
even-
words and more excuses.
Respect has gone down.
yeah,
now.
I think they talk back and they just don't respect
Yeah.
their teachers.
I think we should. What was it? The
Bring
movie
back corporal
Ned's,
punishment.
where they takes a belt. You hold your hands out.
Yeah,
take your
corporal
belt
punishment.
and but I didn't have that. I'm not old enough, thankfully, to have been through that.
David
I
Dye
think-
here.
Hmm?
He full on ran from the front of the class once. Ran from the front of the class 4 or 5 aisles down and kicked Andy Smith in the thigh. This was 1991.
Who are these people?
It's a good memory.
David Dye here. Mr. Dye here is the graphical technical drawing teacher. Andy was a cunt, but I mean,
Oh,
he
so
did not deserve
He,
to be
he deserved it.
belted. in
so
class.
for a moment I thought these were celebrities.
no, this was a gem from my life.
Fond memories.
Wow.
I had such a sheltered childhood. You know.
He's
You're so
French.
precious.
He's secretly French.
No, I grew up abroad, so.
Okay.
So he's a wuss.
Well, I was not only the first English kid in my school, but the first blonde. So
Right.
from day one, I was kind of the
He-
special
he's,
one.
He's
you know.
rather Aryan. Have you seen the colour of his eyes?
Did you have long hair at the time?
No,
Oh,
but this is the second iteration of the long hair.
okay.
Got rid of the first one. Family said, "Oh, we'll help you get a job." Nah.
That's weird. It used to be the other way around. You had to cut your hair if you wanted to get a job back
No,
in
no,
the
no,
day.
no, yeah, no. I had to cut it short
Oh, I
to
see.
get a job,
Right.
but
But it was just
nah.
his personality. Would you look at that?
Can't cut that.
Well, I think that's definitely all three of us. I don't know about anybody else, but that's what I love about Chunky Wombat. You know, it's completely and utterly not. I was going to say commercial then, but not corporate.
Yeah, formal.
Yeah,
not
not-
at all. I
not
don't
at
think I
all.
could do it
I
if I
mean-
tried.
I lose count of the number of times the C word is said a day. Nobody
Much
gives
to
a fuck
my-
about the word fuck.
Max
somebody-
hates it,
Well,
but
what
we're
was
just
the
like,
office rule you wanted to?
Implement.
Yeah, thank you.
What, the one I mentioned yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, every time Natalie swears, she has to put £1 in the jar.
Oh no, not that one.
Oh, not that one. And Max gets
Should
something
be
else in
should be
return.
time everyone swears, should it not? I'm sure you all.
I'm the
No.
worst.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't swear.
But I'm in
No.
5 days a week, so it kind
I'm
of
a
mounts up.
writer.
Yeah, but
No.
you should, and then like that pays
My-
for like the
my
staff party
dad
or
who's
food or whatever.
my dad who's in his 60s swears more than I do, and that's just since moving to the UK. But the
What
other
was-
rule about slippers
Oh yeah. No, I wear slippers at work.
and
Okay.
And Natalie,
So do
and
I.
I said no. We've got to make it a rule. Everybody's got to bring slippers into work.
Arnie
I
wears
realised,
slippers. I wear slippers.
it was either Ray or a client was in, and I was looking around at you two and realised Ross is wearing slippers, and then Nat's wearing these pink fluffy things, shuffling around the room. It might have been Ben actually, and I was on the laptop being all super serious doing invoicing and so on.
Oh, and they bought me a poof the other day, so I can put my feet up whilst I'm writing with my slippers on
Wow.
full display.
That's about as uncorporate and unformal
And
as
they've
you can
moved.
get, really.
They've moved my
Beautiful.
desk right in front of the door, so I'm the de facto secretary with my slippered feet up on a poof. Oh hi. Well, what can I do for you?
So what's the slippers logic then?
This is just comfortable, dude.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's snug.
So
It
did
kind-
you take his lead, or were you already
I took your lead, didn't I? And I think it
But
takes
slippers,
it,
yeah,
when
I
when
started.
clients come in, it kind of takes the kind of
just relax more? Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
so many of them that come into the office and then they just, they seem to relax and they can vent about their day to us, and then they just
a couple of clients call it their therapy sessions, and
Mm.
they come in just to kind of have a event or a this thing has happened and I need some of this and I need some help or I need something, and they'll sit with us and then we're there with our slippers like, oh, what can we? Do you want a cup of tea? Do you want to?
Or a posh coffee.
Do you want a posh new coffee machine? Do you want a posh coffee?
Yeah.
Do you want to? We'll talk about the flyers. Come on, we'll sit down. Come on.
We'll get Teacher in. You can come to the massage studio.
Yeah, we've got a massage
See?
studio.
That would be a perfectly good podcast.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey?
Just talking to clients. We call it the therapy hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only problem is they can't really slag anyone off.
We just won't say who's on the podcast. It's all anonymous.
Yeah, just don't mention names.
Yeah.
Or bleep them.
Yeah, you could do that. You could editing.
Bleep.
You love editing. We could make you sit, and we could do 5-hour podcasts. We could drink. We could reinstitute Wine Wednesdays in the studio
Yeah.
and do a podcast at the same
Yeah.
time, and then make him edit it.
Do you remember a few?
Think of the swear words. Just think of the swear words.
Do you remember a few weeks ago? And I spent about 10 hours sifting through all that audio for that edit.
No.
For a 5-minute video is about
That whole.
5 hours of footage. And
But I love those little gems. I love that time Charlie put the camera back in the bag. It was still rolling. She walked all across Carlisle. For an hour and a half, the damn thing was still rolling. She got back to uni, started editing it. Why has it gone black? What's wrong with the screen? So press stop, press pause, eventually press... Oh, Jesus Christ. I love those little things.
I've got.
Yeah.
What's your favourite job, Max? You never said.
well, I was trying to think of one besides the obvious for the Trivis video.
And he
Was
can't.
it was it the other Triverse video? Was it the lyric
That
video?
was an interesting experience because we
Yeah,
did
lyric video is something completely
that,
different.
that,
I would
learning
imagine.
experience, yeah.
Yeah.
that was my first ever lyric video. It
and
was
I had
also
to start it because he wouldn't start it because he couldn't start it because he had a mental block. So I started the first verse. And I was
Well,
like, right, if I can do it,
there was a lot of
you can do it.
It was my first time using the software as well.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd done one or two tinkers in it before, but there was this big period of self-doubt because it was such a big undertaking and we wanted to do a good job.
Well,
And the
yeah, I mean,
pressure
we
was-
can cut. Well, I mean, if we've got footage to do something with, we can do a lot of stuff with.
Yeah, but creating an
we
animation...
don't know how to move stuff around on the screen if it's purely computer generated.
Yeah, you're generating everything that happens on the screen instead of...
Yeah, that's true.
It was so different from using natural light to shoot documentary and stuff like that. It's so far removed from it. But Natalie started it off and showed me, it's possible. And once you get the first 30 seconds out of the way and you get the design right, it was just carrying on. It took quite a long time, but I think the band are happy with it. And whether I'd do another one though, I don't know. It's such a time-consuming thing.
So a lyric video is more time-consuming than a normal video.
You've got to
definitely.
generate every
At
single thing
least-
that's on screen.
At least to the novice. In my case, I mean.
Right.
If
Once you've made one, you've got a certain amount of templates. You can animate it in
That's
different
true.
colors, different
Yeah.
styles. You know.
or you remember, okay, and I know how to achieve that, or I liked that effect I do last time. There would be a lot less experimenting and problem solving and so on. But for the difference in price and because of the amount of time involved, it's so much
Yeah, I
more
suppose.
worthwhile to a band, I think, to have a music video that we shot the Triverse thing in 4K and everything. It would have been broadcast ready, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just easier
Yeah.
for us to
Yeah.
do that and
Definitely.
more enjoyable. The band appear in it, and we don't.
Well,
wanna-
usually, lyric videos are just a cheaper option.
Yeah.
Usually.
Well, yeah, I
That's
mean, they're
what's the
so
point,
prevalent
really.
as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just placeholder videos. I mean,
Yeah.
I showed Natalie the new Taylor Swift and new Katy Perry video today because, there's
It hurt.
totes drama
Every
between the two,
second
Oh.
hurt.
which is cool. But then I showed her the alternative version of the Katy Perry one.
That one was
Swish,
better.
swish, bish, by the way.
Why is there an alternative version?
I think, again, it's just like a lot of people use lyric videos. I think it's just a placeholder. You know, I mean, the Katy Perry one had, well, there's a guy from Game of Thrones on it. There was a guy from Stranger Things. There was another actress I couldn't recognise what show she was on. So I imagine getting all that talent together. You know, they've all got their respective shooting schedule. So maybe it took them several months to do the video. The song was probably recorded maybe a year ago.
Yeah, that's true.
I've just remembered as well that lyric video took 25 hours to export. Yeah, and
we know about that, don't we? Exporting fucking video files.
And to comparison's sake, the live, you know, the performance video took about 18 minutes.
So more of those, yeah.
It's just
one more of those.
I mean, we were talking about there were sometimes 20 odd layers with lighting effects and blending effects, all synced up to stuff, and you deal
very
with
hot, very noisy
textures
computer.
but yeah, it was worth it.
Because today's world's all about things going viral. That's what people want. That's what gets you noticed. So it's like, I know there's a lot of bands now, like Metallica did a video for every song on the album, even though they weren't going to be technically released as singles, and just put them out the day the album came out. So they're already out there because people are going to want
a recent album? Or?
Yeah, like the last one. Yeah, came out last November, I think it was. So the day it came out, every song had a music video online. So that's kind of like.
Please tell me some of them went out illegally, so Lars had something else to whinge about.
Yeah, but the last thing he whinged about was file sharing, and we all know what that's done to the music industry.
Everybody, it's free, man. Everybody can view it. Everybody can listen to it.
Well, one thing is kind of tying from your question from earlier. We'd like to be able to build up some of our kit, not just for video, but obviously we've got a wish list for the computers and printers and so on, so we can do more in-house. But if we can build up our own video kit, if the demand is there and we're getting enough work for it, then that'll give us a bit more flexibility with bands. It means we can do more fun stuff, because something like the Triverse thing, where, for lack of a better word, it follows a formula. It's predictable, you know what the costs are involved, it's much easier to plan and everything, but you are kind of committing to that expense. Whereas if we can do more from in-house, we're probably in a better position to help bands out, try more adventurous stuff. One of my favourite music videos was Millennium Cyanide Christ by Meshuggah, where it's just the band in their camper van, and they're playing the track back, and they don't have any instruments. They're just air guitaring, and the singer has got a pencil instead of a microphone, but it's all perfectly in time and everything, and then it's just them in a.
Let's not shake it off though.
But yeah, I'd love to. As much as I would love to have all the fancy lighting effects and try a lot of the stuff I maybe wanted to try in short films at one point, I need to take things a bit less seriously sometimes. And so we were talking with Chivas about potentially a project where, well, we don't want to give any secrets away, but something fun to contrast with.
For another song off the...
potentially,
yeah.
We hope that
would
will
work.
be possible.
They'd probably be a bit reluctant, but I think that would be...
Oh, no. They were...
They're dead keen.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
keen.
good.
I mean, Foster's in.
We've loosened them up after the first one. They're ready.
Well, first
Just
two.
get drunk. Yeah, just get drunk. Yeah, fine. But it is very interesting, the video concept, because it's like you can do anything you want, but and the music video doesn't have to correlate exactly to what the song is about, so you can tell a different story completely.
Yeah. I mean, if you hadn't guessed, I absolutely adore music videos.
Yeah.
I'll happily sit there and just turn the volume off and watch Bieber, whoever.
But do you think music videos are better today than they were 20, 30, 40 years ago?
I was born in '78, bruh. You know, Wild Boys, Duran Duran, one of the best goddamn
stuff.
music videos ever.
Yeah.
The 80s stuff is some of the best, because it's all kind of been it's being done for the first time.
Yes and
very
no.
new.
Yes and no. I mean, the tech's there, logistics is there these days, but no, I think the creative. I mean, God damn it, Take On Me,
Yeah, that was a good one. That's very memorable.
It's one of my favourites.
I mean, just that early computer stuff. Brothers in Arms, Dire Straits.
Yeah.
Or more Dire Straits, Money for Nothing.
Money
you know,
for Nothing,
any of that stuff. I mean, MTV in the 80s was absolutely fucking brilliant.
Sledgehammer, Peter Gabriel, was that time as well?
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Lots of stop frame animation,
Yeah.
things going around his head and whatnot.
It's not a case of always whether it was good or not. It's just you still remember it.
Mm.
It had certain things about it that just make you.
Oh,
Everyone.
I mean, I loved it because
Yeah.
I was there as a kid. I mean, I have a lot of problems, especially when I was doing uni. Everybody said, "Oh, have you watched The Third Man? It's amazing." It's going, no, it's dull.
The what? Sorry.
The Third Man, you know, one of the greatest films ever. Orson Welles.
1956.
One of the greatest films ever. It's in like the Smithsonian.
I'm a fan of courtroom drama
Okay.
and stuff, so it was.
12 Angry Men.
It's my second favourite film
Fantastic,
of all time.
but
Inherit
Man-
the Wind is also a courtroom drama, and that's my number one.
but you know, I grew up in the 80s. You know, I was used to smash cuts.
Yeah.
All the shit that you saw in classic films like Casablanca and whatnot, that was fucking 70, 80 years ago.
I always remember.
You see that in adverts now.
Mm-hmm.
Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling.
Oh, hell yeah.
What a video that is. Good song as well, to be fair. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you actually had choreography.
Yeah.
You had so much more involved. It was a proper movie shoot.
Oh,
in the
Michael
80s.
Jackson's videos. I mean,
Yeah, all of them.
wow, like Thriller. Just the
pretty much.
whole.
Mm.
It's beautiful.
He
I
took
don't-
it to
What
another
about
level.
Bad?
Yeah.
Starring Wesley Snipes.
Yeah,
Directed
yeah.
by
Yeah.
I keep going back to.
Scorsese.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah.
Did you ever see pop music by M?
Pop music.
Yeah.
pop-
Yeah.
I know the song, but I can't remember the video.
I can't remember
Where
the
it was 1979, I think, and it was just this delightfully cheesy electro thing,
Mm.
and you got to look it up. I'll write it down for you.
What was it?
So it's pop music with a K at the end by
German
M.
band, wasn't
By M.
it?
Sure.
German- It was definitely European.
Yeah, it's,
But
it's,
it
it's
looks
definitely
like-
European.
Yeah, it's just
It's
All that
definitely
electro
European.
stuff was German at the time.
Anything camp.
it's
Kraftwerk,
got
Work,
it's got
everything.
doo-wops in it
Yeah.
with
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the 80s stuff does sound similar because those synth things came through. And there was only certain
Mm.
companies that made it, so everyone
Yeah.
used the same sort of the drum samples and all that.
it was the 80s snare, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
And
very iconic
even,
of the
even
time.
my favourite artist of all time, Bruce Springsteen, embraced the synth. But fuck it.
I used to despise 80s pop until, I was converted, mostly through working at Chunky Wombat. It's just because
There's nothing wrong with my 80s pop playlist.
No,
I think the context was, I was usually exposed to it if it was, say, a cheese night or something, and I just,
jeez,
Ugh. But when it's on the radio, if not Classic FM, then Radio 2 for me. So there's loads of 80s stuff that's thrown into the mix, and yeah, it's just more uplifting, a bit more fun, a bit less serious, and yeah, I'm annoyed it took me that long.
If you can't be happy when you listen to Walking on Sunshine,
Yeah, yeah, there's something wrong with you.
well, that's one of the best things about like YouTube is the fact that you just go back and watch all the old videos.
Yeah,
Well, anything you want
classics.
really, but just
And then it's 4 a.m.
yeah, and you're like,
I do that with all the 80s kids shows. And,
Oh,
and
that as
remember
well.
most of the theme tunes.
God,
It's
yeah, the theme
embarrassing.
tunes, some iconic theme tunes back in the day. That would have been a good job. doing
Lately,
theme
Yeah.
tunes.
lately with metal videos, I keep ending up with more and more deathcore and slam stuff. So it's the slower and slower drops, and where there's so many gaps
Waiting
of
for
silence.
stuff to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember that band? They're outside in this kind of concrete courtyard,
Oh, yeah.
and they're missing out so many beats because it's this huge drop and everything. That do something, it's just.
Max is having a
Frustrating.
spasm.
Sorry, I got I
Maxism.
I got distracted.
No, carry on. Talk about music videos. Talk about
Who
pop
doesn't love
music.
videos.
Pop music.
But did we get to answer the question? Do you think they're better now, or is it just different now?
It's always
Latest,
different
the
now.
latest Katy Perry and Taylor Swift ones were abysmal. Both
A
videos
lot
and
of them are
songs.
just too much eye candy.
Which is
Yeah.
not
It's tacky.
generally
It's
a
tacky.
bad thing in my book.
Creatively,
but yeah,
I get bored of it.
creatively,
Yeah.
there's so many.
Was that one of what's that face over the huge arse when all the video was?
Nicki
just,
Minaj.
Yeah, I was like, what?
No, but I don't think anybody particularly enjoys Nicki Minaj.
I
Some
don't
of
think
the
Nicki Minaj enjoys Nicki Minaj.
What was that? Starship
Oh.
or Starships? That was just abysmal. It was just God knows how many Maori guys in Hawaii with her in pink water as well. It's going, what the fuck is going on?
So I just find a lot of pop music bland, and I find
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of the music videos bland as well that go with it. Sometimes
Kinda
the music video,
soulless.
there isn't enough to save it.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's just we're saturated with everything.
Yeah, music as well. There's just so much out because of the internet. It's a blessing, but it's also
Well, yeah,
it's a bit
yeah.
of a because, like back in the day, it was if you were there wasn't as many people, there wasn't as many bands. It wasn't seen as much of a career option back in the day. It was like you drop everything to be, you just save all your money up and go and just
Yeah.
try
Just
and be
didn't have that
a
many
A
forms of
celebrity was
media.
a celebrity.
No, but
I mean,
now you've got
yeah.
too many.
Yeah.
Top of the pops, you
Yeah.
get a steady like 6 million viewers every Thursday.
But and it was all and it was about if you signed a record deal, you've made it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if you got played
top
on, if
40
you got
a
played on,
Sunday on the radio.
if you got played on the radio,
Everybody recorded
that's
it.
it. But now it's like got played on the radio.
Still
Wow.
big fight for it.
Even if you stuck to just UK bands, you could spend years just discovering band after band. I mean,
Yeah, Spotify, SoundCloud.
I mean, just
YouTube.
with just the likes of Bloodstock, all the new bands that are coming out, there's no, it's just endless, which is fantastic.
Yeah, but at least Bloodstock have a new build stage just for new bands. That's like
That dedicated space is amazing.
yeah.
That was one of the beautiful things about Kendal. I mean, so many local bands within, say, a 20-mile radius
Yeah.
were playing all over the place in 3 or 4 different stages.
Yeah.
Well, depending on how good they were. They were
Yeah.
invited to play on other stages, but
I think we would like to, if we can get involved with young bands, because
or old bands, we don't care. We'll
yeah,
take 16 or 16.
Yeah.
I mean, for Awoke, for instance, that I mean, that was really fun for us to get to be involved with the logo.
Oh yeah.
And then I'd done a few stills before, and I was happy to do that again. But if we could, I think there might be a lot of bands, correct me if I'm wrong, who might think that a lot of stuff is probably inaccessible to them, or maybe they're too.
Out of price range, I mean.
It might be price range, or maybe they're not really aware of what's nearby, because
Oh right, yeah.
Or what's possible.
I mean, we
Yeah,
thought
true,
we thought that we'd be dealing with a lot more bands. We've ended up working with almost entirely businesses, especially small businesses and stuff, and it makes sense for our business model to carry on that route. But we want to try and make ourselves available, and so it's nice to have people come up to us for ideas, even if they're they've already got their logo and stuff, but they want something else, or they want some advice, or want to know what's possible. Because with the graphic design things, all the merch ideas, the promo items, we went through a whole list of all the stuff that we could offer, including branded rubber ducks and oven mitts, and can you name a few?
Trolley tokens, bottle openers, mugs, teapot and mugs, T-shirts, caps. I'm sure we could do your headbands, your headband, and your earphones, anything you could almost think of.
Yeah,
Your
you can put a
flask,
logo on it and brand
pen.
Such an important thing, that the logo, the branding.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean,
especially for bands.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, this is something Max mentioned earlier, but the full branding service, which is Natalie has been pushing recently. Once you start with the logo, you can build the entire brand up from that.
But it's got to be a strong. It's got to like that's what I was. The only thing I was worried about Awoke is you need to be able to read what it says, and also it needs to stand out, because especially if you're in a band, it's just going to get put on posters with 100 other bands if you're playing a festival and all day.
And
It's
all
like-
metal bands look the same.
Yeah, I certainly
squiggly.
did one of those ones where someone looks like a tree with no leaves on it.
Yeah, the branch.
But
logo.
it's very important. Like, it's your starting point, really. And it's
Well, yeah.
It was
if
interesting.
you made it a sticker and you stick it on places, does it stand out? Does it?
Yeah.
You notice it?
I mean, it was fun to go through, because I started off that project building a mood board for it. And I thought, what kind of style of music is it? What kind of bands do you like, or what do you sound like? And I just look at some examples, see what they have in common, and then you build up, say, a repertoire, show it to the bands. Are there any in here that you like the look of? And then narrow it down.
Yeah.
And think, well, what is it about that they like? And then and then I handed it over to Nat with all these notes accumulated, and let her do all the hard work.
Because especially with new bands, it's a case of the first logo they ever see, they're going to love it because it's the first logo they've ever seen. It's like trying to don't just go for the first thing. Have a think about it. Talk to the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
Get a
Have
good
a meeting.
Don't just go, we'll take it, and then regret it later down the line.
and now it's because of the the workflows are quicker and everything, we would send them a few mock-ups of this is your logo on a t-shirt or in
How it would
stickers.
apply to
Yeah, it's
different
good to see it in
things,
context in that kind of context rather than just on its own.
And then
It's
you
quite-
get, I mean, we have different logo packages, so you'd have different. You might need different versions if you want a white or a black T-shirt.
Yeah.
If you want a longer version, all that stuff you don't always think about when you're starting out.
Yeah, or sometimes the band ends up like we did. Dynamo became DNM, so we kind of logos based around that as well, which you didn't think about at the beginning. We
Is
have
that
to
not
go.
copyrighted?
It's copyrighted, but we
It's
We
a
don't-
Welsh climbing
But-
game. Yeah.
But whoops.
yeah.
Oopsie-daisy.
But still, just variations of what you started with. You know what I mean? It's all useful, like branding stuff. But like you don't think about things like that. But like takes if you go to a company for them to say, "What about this?" or "What about that?" and they go, "Oh yeah."
Well, yeah, and I just love the idea we can do it all in our little nest.
In house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then we're all a bit mad, so we can just send ideas across. We're shouting across the room, or then we'll come up with slogans. There was a few fun ones written across the wall. It's enough. It's a great atmosphere, and then we're excited to then take the ideas to the client.
Yeah.
And say, okay, so we can do these basic things, but we
We can
have
also
this
do branded
awesome
rubber ducks.
idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's something that might then affect their business model or give them an idea for a new service or something. I think it's happened a few times with, I didn't think of that. Oh, that'd be brilliant. And then we get so much more satisfaction about it's not about the money side of it. It's just seeing the person light up and be so happy and then
Excited.
Yeah, because they're usually almost always really passionate people in their own right.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, well, for me, I was always very. If I wanted, always had an image of like the logo or the album artwork. I always had a very specific image, and it's like trying to convey that to someone for them to take it and then interpret how you wanted it. Like, depends how quickly going back and forth did it take you to get to what you want. But some people, I imagine, don't really know what they want.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
you've got to try and
Yeah.
coax them to where what they're happy with. Other
You've
people
got to
like,
unpick 'em.
no, I don't want that. I want this. No, change that. I want this. So
Yeah.
you get both. I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
you get some people who have a list ready and then with a bit of creative freedom somewhere, and then others who have got so much on their plate already that they need someone to look. Can you just
Deal
do
with
the
that,
branding?
please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Just
do it
we'll
so it looks
approve
good.
it and we'll see proofs and so on. And they'll probably have, I don't quite like that, but can you do it this way and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do get that variety. You just have to try and be flexible and
Yeah.
and then you think, well, hang on, how many different versions of this logo have we done now?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
I'm also amazed they just throw it out there. Just drop it. You pick it up and do it. It's good, dude. This is your entire identity.
Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
leaving it in our house.
This is you.
Yeah.
We're here with our slippers on, and and you're leaving it with us, really.
Yeah, some people might spend months and months developing their business idea and so on, and by the time we meet them, it's all really good, and they just need someone to do some extra
Make it
flyers and so
visual.
on. And then others, we had one client who they got so busy because they had so much to set up that they left their branding until the last 4 weeks before
God.
a launch event. And I think we missed a phone call and missed the first part of the job. So the branding went to someone else who maybe wasn't well.
It just wasn't right.
Well, that brings
No.
us whole different set of difficulties if someone else is involved with part of the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you.
because then we were
It's difficult.
brought on and to do more that was possibly beyond the services of what wasn't part of what the other guy did.
Yeah.
But then we're stuck to this existing branding that
Right.
Which I
wasn't the
didn't
best.
like.
And it's
gotta
such
deal
an
with it
you don't
sometimes.
realize how important it is to get even for our own, like I said, we haven't done all the things that we want to do for our own. We're always doing someone else's branding.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the websites had 4 redrafts. We wanted to do all kinds, like even animation. We still haven't put signs out the front of the. We've been there nearly a year.
I've painted.
Yeah.
Okay, well done.
It's a
Nice
nice,
colour on the
bright,
walls.
clean white now.
Yeah,
Lovely.
but yeah, not enough people yet know where we are, but that's okay because we've been really busy. Just want to make sure that we stay busy over winter
Yeah.
and so on.
But
I'm
yeah.
just gonna, in middle episode, I'm just gonna try something with this
Uh-oh.
camera angle. Yeah, this is like the first.
Mid-episode.
This is the first.
Dun, dun, dun.
Just thinking we could get all three of them maybe on the same shot from over here.
Hopefully nobody has to edit this.
It's all edit on the fly. There we go.
Edited on the fly.
It is. That software he does. He changes the camera angles and it records the changes.
Cool.
So when you're finished, it's done.
Cheating.
Yeah.
Hang on, you don't want to suggest to your audience that you're actually adding production value. You're getting multiple camera angles from
I
one
know,
recording.
what's going
God
on?
Damn.
Going up in the world.
Like top of the pops up in here.
So switch to that one.
No, no, no.
Oh.
Yeah,
There we go. All three of them. 3 wombats.
Oh,
There we go.
No,
Oh, get his branding out. Look at that.
he's getting his boobies out.
People
I should
listening.
stop doing that.
Or
as soon as
audio
there's a
listeners will
camera
have to
in the
check
room.
this out on YouTube.
Can I throw in a regatta?
Can you do with a drone?
Well.
You can control a drone whilst you do the podcast as well. But yeah, I think you should have some kind of like checklist for people if they were like for starting out. Like, just have a logo first.
Yeah, start
Oh,
there.
yeah.
we-
Have an
we,
idea.
We've
Have
set up several little kind of procedures like that, but
Yeah, well, I was working on an idea for like a branding audit thing. So you get in touch with a business who say, well, they want something in particular, but okay, let's just look at what presence there is that we can see and see what else we might be able to suggest.
Mm.
Whether it ends up leading to a job or not doesn't really matter, but it might still,
Yeah.
they might appreciate it, and it becomes automatic for us to, then, so have you thought about, if you're going to a trade show, will you need any banners and stuff?
Yeah.
Or do you want some giveaways for people?
some business cards while you're there. You may as well.
Yeah,
put
business
some
cards.
flyers up
Business
as
cards. That's
well.
another thing.
You're gonna post anything on your social media before you go.
I mean, with our top?
There's a lot. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to
Mm.
think about.
Yeah.
And a lot to be on top of.
Well, that's one of the things. I mean, a lot of clients just haven't a clue what's available
Yeah.
or what services we
Yeah,
provide,
that's true.
and how. I don't want to use poxy words like organic or something like that, but yeah, it's just it's so varied. There's so many webs. There's so many strands on the web. It's
And
ridiculous.
they only have time to focus on certain
Yeah,
things.
they'll
so-
say right. I want a logo because I want to put some business cards out. It's going business cards. It's like present year, dude. I mean, don't you want like some kind of automatic notification with a logo that we designed
don't you want
and
a
a website
website?
that we built?
Yeah.
Well,
Going
the
print,
importance of
print?
a mobile website, because these
Yeah.
days everything's on your phone.
Everything.
Mm.
It's like when we're doing
80%.
research for the podcast, it's like 75% is a podcast I listen to on a phone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all you really, and it's audio. The video it's surplus, but
I-
if you
I
can
don't
do it,
have
do
music
it.
on my
Yeah.
phone. I've not had music on my phone.
Oh,
for
I
like
do.
2 years. It's
Well,
just
I
podcasts.
drive a lot, so I have Spotify in the car.
Oh, it's just podcasts
Yeah.
on mine.
Oh, I do have a mixture of both. Mainly podcasts, but yeah, it's everything's mobile these days.
Mm.
So if you have a website, it has to be
Mm.
mobile compatible.
But
Yeah,
even
that's-
digital, if you go, we could start with the logo, but we started working in things like social media graphics into our logo
Mm.
packages, so that it's there, and then when you're setting up your Facebook and your Twitter and everything, you've already got the startup
Yeah.
pictures, and you can apply all this stuff to. It's just so many different things that you'll need.
Yeah, that some people wouldn't even thought of.
Mm.
Yeah, because they're not that way inclined. Well, that's kind of becomes your job then to say,
Well,
well,
yeah,
we've done this what you asked, but there's also this.
Yeah,
And this.
I'm amazed. I mean, like you said, everything is on mobile now these days. Everything can be accessed by the phone,
Mm.
and yet people don't. To be fair, I mean, I went to uni in 2012. I mean, I'd never touched an Apple product before.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, the level of things you can do with computers, with social media, with simple things now to
Yeah.
us. But
Mhm.
I mean, we've been podcasting for probably we started in February, but we spent pretty much a year before that practicing and
Mhm.
Yeah.
researching and initially it was called the Technical Difficulties Podcast, wasn't it?
Hmm.
Trial and error. But even now, I've come across people. I've had to help them because like they've still got a podcast, and I was like, "Are you on iTunes?" Like, no. I was like,
Yeah.
there's no point in having a
What are you
podcast if you're not on
doing
iTunes.
then?
Yeah.
Every app that you use that gets podcasts pulls from iTunes. So if you're not on
Yeah.
there, you
Is
shoot
it
yourself
audio
in the
only?
foot.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
many,
audio
how many
only.
mics have you got? Have you
Don't-
got headsets?
And they've got a video podcast. Like, forget about the video at first. Just get your audio sorted.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Yeah.
And then if
That's
you
the
can do
base of
video,
it.
because you just too many things at once.
Mm.
Just get your content sorted and then go from there.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like you guys, like you start off doing something, but you still learn along the way. You learn a lot of
Oh,
things,
yes,
Definitely,
yeah.
things that you hadn't thought about. But you come across errors or problems, and there's probably a lot more to learn from making mistakes than there is
Oh,
from
definitely.
anything else.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
That's what all the swearing's for.
Yeah. I think you
Well-
should definitely do that pound every time someone swears, because you'd have a lot of
I'd
money.
be so skint.
'Cause, we all went to uni, and a lot of the process there is learning from your mistakes. And
Exactly. There's more to be learned.
yeah, I mean, I learned to. We were part of we did a big project over in Germany, and I was
Funk on the Flug.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got to be involved in that, and there were days where you learned you just had to accept that a problem had happened. There was no point in getting upset or angry.
Just deal with it.
Yeah, okay, it's happened. What can we do to solve it, or what can we do to work around it? And there was no time for anything else, and I'm quite glad that on most days that's stuck with me.
Get a
but-
bit sassy, Max. I mean, it's sort of like big up how big a production Funk and Flung was, and by the way, internationally award-winning short film.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I mean, I guess we could tell that story.
Yeah, of course you can.
Go for it.
Well, so Funkenflug is
What is it? Say that word again.
Funk and
Funkenflug.
Flug. It's something along the lines of disaster or
Sparks.
sparks.
He's
yeah,
giving up.
sparks.
He's giving up writing that down already.
Funken Flug.
So
We
Brilliant.
can get
Let's
you
see.
details if you want.
so
A friend of ours, Steffi Keeble. She's from a little town in the Black Forest,
Right.
and in 1850 odd,
yeah,
something along those lines. 150 years to there.
Was it
1856?
1856? Because it was 150 years
there was
ago.
a massive fire, burnt the whole town down.
Right.
Dozens dead. And then I don't know how.
no, not
however-
dozens dead. No,
Oh.
but yeah, there
Hundreds
was a
dead.
no,
Damn it!
no,
Damn it!
story.
only one, I think.
Damn it.
Only one, if I
Only
remember
one?
right. Yeah.
God
Anyway, yeah, this fire destroyed a lot of the town, and it was a big, significant thing for them. And it was coming up for the 150th anniversary. Is that the right word in this
Yeah,
context?
yeah.
So Steffi was on the film course with Ross, as were I think all the rest of the crew. I think there were 6 of us who went over, and
Sam, Lax,
Sarah, David.
Lax.
Did you mention
Yeah,
Lax? And Finn. So it
Oh,
was
yeah.
written by I think Finn, Drood, and Steffi Keeble wrote it together. Steffi directed it. Finn was assistant director and editor and did a ton for the project. So yeah, the 6 of us went out there, and then we had about 100 cast and crew as all volunteers. There was, I think the budget was it?
Couple of grand.
Yeah, if that.
Right.
And it
But
was
they
just
got so much more bang for the buck. I mean, the hundreds of people from the town got involved, if not acting in it.
yeah.
The fire brigade
And-
actually pretended to be 1850 fire brigade.
So what was the purpose? What was
well,
the
the
just to commemorate the fire, really.
right?
yeah, and it was a chance for. I think it's because Steffi was involved with the local paper and a few other things locally. She was involved
Right.
with the theatre group, so
Before she
she
came here, and then
yeah, she had a lot of contacts there and a lot of potential resources to draw on. And
As far as I know, she didn't push it. They asked her. She was back
Yeah.
for
All right.
like
Mm.
Christmas, and then go, hey, you do film now.
and then the uni supported the project. I was
Heavily.
invited on to be a cinematographer with working with David and Lax towards that, and this was the first time we got to use for us a fancy camera at the time. So
and actual steady cams and
though we didn't,
fires and stunts and
yeah, and I was trying to. I was much deeper into my geeky camera stuff at the time, and I got to
still is.
Yeah. And I got to.
Somebody's got to be.
Well, I was going for a kind of United 93 / Saving Private Ryan meets 19th century Germany.
For those of you more into metal music than film, he just means really shaky.
Yeah, shaky camera, quite choppy. Not all the
Blair
time.
Witch Project.
Fairly natural. Like anyway, I could go on for ages about the geeky stuff, but that was one of the uni's. If it probably still is the uni's biggest project, and
Well, they dropped.
I take it that's online now.
oh
view.
Yeah,
Well, if someone was looking for it on YouTube, what would they search?
don't know if it's on
the Chronicle
YouTube.
of a Catastrophe. Is that the?
I think that's
translation?
the.
It's what, sorry?
Official title.
What was it?
Chronicle of a Catastrophe. I think that's the translation into English.
But it
Okay.
Since the premiere in
I can't
No,
remember what
I've-
town she's from either. No,
oh god, this
somewhere in
is
the Black Forest. So, good ghetto.
San Georgen. That's
In the
it.
ghetto.
It was San Georgen. Yeah.
You're the cunning linguist.
So yeah, there was a premiere there, and it was a whole big event and everything. But since then, it's gone on to do festival runs,
Right.
all over the place.
Several awards.
Yeah, it's won loads of stuff, and Steffi has kept working on it since the whole project finished. Didn't give up, and has, it's won all kinds of stuff.
It wasn't a little pissant thing. I mean, some of the crew were pros. I mean, you had a professional producer involved, I believe.
Oh.
Well, a professional production company at least
No,
on the German end.
no, there were people involved with theatre and involved with local businesses, but everyone was a volunteer. I think.
I take that back.
I believe anyway. At least no one was there. We did have a visual effects supervisor who came on a few days, and made sure we were doing things to make his job a bit easier, because he would do the compositing and adding in some of the flames and some of there weren't very many effect shots, but
if you thought editing on the fly was hard, or indeed post-recording, imagine how it was for Finn. Oh, hi, I'm in Carlisle. Oh, hi, I'm in Black Forest. I can easily communicate what I want you to do to this edit.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
and this was on slightly out of date at the time uni computers, and we were shooting some of it in 4K, and yeah, I remember a lot of the nightmares of rendering time. And
I've got a picture of the screen of the timeline.
All right.
There's like 457 different clips. It's fucking brilliant.
Filming in 4K, is that so? Like, yeah, mixing down, is that a lot more processor intensive on your machines these days?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
yeah, this was
everything's 4K now. It's like the new
At
HD.
least.
Yeah.
well, it gives you those options now, but at the time this was 4K in ProRes, and these PC they were Macs. They weren't that powerful. They couldn't really.
Are you guys all using? Is it Macs?
No.
No, PCs.
We're all
These two are
PCs.
haters. I'm a Mac man.
Okay.
I'm he said Aryan earlier.
I just wondered if you'd all have to be on the same
Oh no,
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 it's
no,
supposed
no,
to
no.
be.
compatible and.
No.
Well, we use things like a lot of cross-platform stuff. Everything's based on
Okay.
Creative Cloud.
I can edit, but if any editing's to be done, usually Mac does it.
Right.
I'm usually on computers to write.
Right. Yeah.
Natalie does virtually 90% of the graphic design stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Natalie and Arnie. Max can do some stuff now. I've been introduced to WordPress. I'm slowly learning
Good
new
old
tricks.
WordPress. It has a lot of uses, does
Yeah.
WordPress.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I write. These two actually do technical wizardry.
Well, most of my job is the admin side now, so trying to keep people and projects organised, deal with the
Yeah,
invoices, the
Someone's
accounts.
got to do it. It's probably one of the more boring sides, but
Oh,
it's probably a key. It's a backbone to what
I'm
you're
not
doing.
organised enough.
Because if you haven't got that side covered, then you can't do the fun
No,
stuff.
no,
Yeah.
certainly.
So
Yeah.
it's like
So
it's your team, innit?
When you're dealing with, actually, I read that to-do list thing that we started using. We've got 222 items on it.
Why? How?
Well,
Who
So
put them
apparently I'm
there?
not doing anything.
not all.
Who, what, why, where, when?
No, but it's been, we're trying to keep each other organised, and we've got different ways that we like to do things, different ways of working, different sets of priorities, and it's just we're trying to learn how to merge all those things, because with video it was such a different process. You do all the paperwork first.
Well, we were shackled by the uni anyway.
Yeah, but we realized
we could
how
only get the
important
kit
it
on the
was.
day. We had to apply for specific bits
Yeah.
of kit. We had to justify why kit.
You had to organize everything, and then you minimize any kind of delays and mistakes and so on. But
what, at the uni or?
no, just on
Us?
any shoot, and
That's
then
good. Well, it's, I mean, we're free to do it. We're not lax. We're not going to throw away. No, we are going to wear PPE if needs be, but
Yeah.
we don't have to justify it to a committee. We don't have to put it in triplicate writing for insurance purposes, purely for insurance purposes. We can just find out what the law is for this particular venue or this specific kit and go and do it.
Yeah.
but with graphic design, it's a lot more kind of real time, in the sense that it's just a back and forth between designer and client. It's the scales are all completely different. The kind of costs vary wildly. Some stuff is material, some stuff is time only, and you're trying to explain why some stuff costs what it does, and you're trying to sometimes deal with people who've been told one thing and they're sure that that's the only possible way it can be good.
Right.
So yeah, it's challenging, but
So have you got? Is there an opening in your little circle for? Are you looking for any
It
sort
always
of other?
seems to be.
Are you looking for any other specific skill set to add to your team, or?
I think it's more a case of if someone thinks that they've got something to offer us that we could then promote, we're quite happy to do so.
We weren't expecting Arnie, we weren't expecting Ray, we weren't expecting Whirly-Rig.
So you didn't seek those guys out; they just came to you.
It was all pretty organic.
Not actively.
It was.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's good.
It's kind of supply and demand.
And there are a few things that we wanted to be able to do ourselves, like social media management was one, but that didn't really work out. Then, not that we weren't capable, but it was just
Time consuming.
you pick your battles.
Yeah.
And but then we've met people who might be joining the team in some capacity who can take on more stuff like that, and then we can start. Well, as a team, we can offer this.
Yeah.
And then it means for businesses they've got fewer things to worry about, and the people we're working with are hopefully getting more work. If there is one thing, maybe, because various people have offered help, but might be stuff that's quite rare, but app development might be something in the next year
that's true.
we
That's a big
explore.
That's the big thing. Apps these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Has Ember's got one?
No,
Not yet.
but it does have a
What bands are on?
mobile ready.
Yeah, things like that.
website,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Is it just me, or does Marc look like Philly D?
Who?
Phil DeFranco.
Yeah.
Don't know who that is.
Massive YouTuber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'll have to look that one up.
He's been on Joe Rogan.
but the other thing
The
is,
name, I don't recognise the name, but
we realised because Annie wasn't the only person who came on board to do some web work with us, but we realised it was so important for someone to be on the same page with the mission.
Just as mental. and
Yeah, but also
gotta have the right mentality.
Yeah.
You know,
To be
we-
a chunky
a little
wombat.
bit tapped.
we all put in so much time and effort and overtime, and it, as every small business owner does,
Very precious about what we have.
yeah, and you want to
So it
stick.
should be.
You want to
Yeah.
stick up for each other. You want to, and we can't. We're not yet in a position to take much out of the business. It's still growing. It's our baby, and we need to find people who might have. Yes, they need to be skilled and good at what they do, as you would expect anywhere. But if they don't get what we're trying to be,
Yeah.
then
Then it's not going to work.
and they're not going to enjoy it either, probably.
Yeah.
Because it's you have to enjoy working with music on, or having slippers, and having clients come in at any random point in the day just to
It's almost
bitch
like a
about their
family
work.
kind of vibe, isn't
yeah.
it?
It's really dysfunctional family.
Yeah, it's not an office;
situation.
it's a studio. It's
But I think that goes hand in hand with creativity. I think.
Yeah.
and creative people.
One of the most important things we did was insist on calling it a studio rather than an office, because we were calling it an office.
Definitely. Absolutely.
It has certain benefits as well. But yeah, no. Who wants to go to work in an office?
I know.
Well, I work in a studio.
You know? And somewhere like Atlas as well. It's a strange place, but yeah, all those different types of people around. If we could, we've bullshitted about it a couple of times recently. If we could turn the courtyard into, because you go through kind of cobbled courtyard.
Atlas. Yeah.
But there's like a street eat place. There's a cafe. There's a nursery. There's a couple of bands, and it's kind of, you could have
built-in community.
Yeah, and it's completely separate from the road. You could have you get a lot of sun during the daytime. Put a couple of picnic benches.
You could have the Chunky Wombat crash.
We're doing something. I believe we're doing something.
Yeah, we're doing some signs and stuff.
Cool.
Well, there's we were talking about one potential project of designing the actual courtyard itself, throwing some ideas there, making it seem a bit like a village square.
Who owns the whole thing?
The damn fool is doing a walking tour in the Himalayas. You just can't reach that guy. You just can't get hold of him.
He really is.
Okay.
You should
Dan
definitely
Russell.
invite him.
He's
on.
everywhere, man.
Dan Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's local legend.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
He's a very zen dude. He's done like a lot of Eastern things, philosophy
he'd
and
break
martial
your back
arts.
in like
several
10
years.
seconds.
He's just such a nice man,
Yeah.
and he is. Well, if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have the premises, which means we wouldn't have had a reason to kind of make sure we get to work every day.
So did he kind of help you out?
He
when
gave
you
us
were
a
starting?
chance.
Yeah.
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 And
Everybody needs stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah.
We
definitely.
wouldn't have done work for Al. We wouldn't have done work for Chrissy. We wouldn't have
met all these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many people. He's on our Christmas card list.
Definitely. Yeah.
Although they gave us one last Christmas.
Yeah. It's true.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's, of course, there's Dee, Sue, and Rob and Robbie who.
All the staff there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
And Turtle.
Turtle the
they
French bulldog.
They seem to tolerate us when we go up, and
They love it.
kind
They love the whole wombat thing.
Yeah.
They love it.
That wombat thing.
What's not to love?
Yeah.
But when
We're cuddly and cute.
when it's so nice to have landlords who just want you to succeed and
Yeah.
are there to
No,
offer
they don't just want the
advice
rent,
and-
and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if they've got a bit of spare time, they'll help us out with an issue or two. And
Yeah, I mean, I want to push the Atlas Works. I want to plug the hell out of it. There's still several places.
So that's the Atlas
vacant.
Works in Carlisle.
Yeah.
yeah, they're
Nelson Street.
expanding. They've recently expanded into the
Property.
neighbouring building, so there's going to be room for
Loads of units.
And they've got
available.
property on other locations around Carlisle.
Yeah. But they're good guys.
Cool.
But yeah, if you need a
Oh,
unit,
that you should meet.
Turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Turtle the
French
French
bulldog.
bulldog. He is the security dog in Atlas Works.
Yeah.
Atlas mascot.
Dee's actually bought him like a little dog
Security
black
jacket.
vest
It's really
with
cute.
security written on it.
Brilliant.
I love it.
I mean, that there are chickens and a rooster
We've got
now.
chickens now, yeah.
At one point, we've
But
had
Rob has to hide his cock away at night time
Yeah.
and has to wake his cock up every morning.
And it makes a lot of noise.
It does. That's why he has to hide it every night.
Yeah.
I see.
I said cock, now Max is embarrassed. How many times did I say cock?
About 8.
Oh, cool.
And on that note,
Cock.
I think it's been great to talk to you guys.
Been cool.
Oh,
Natalie, Ross,
we really
Max.
had to
Yeah.
end on that.
Cock.
Yeah, we
Cock.
did. We ended on a cock. We actually did. I think it's great what you guys are doing. I think you're doing Cumbria proud.
Yay,
And
thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think we'll have you guys on again at some point in the
Lovely.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might even come to you and do one at your place of
Yeah.
work. That would be cool.
You have to bring slippers.
Okay.
Yes.
We're in.
Yes.
We're in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Slippers and beer.
Tech, you'll have to go and buy some slippers.
And we'll try and pick up some of Al's delicious hobnobs
Ooh.
for you as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm,
sounds
From
good.
cocks to knobs.
If you're in the area, go and sample one of Al's knobs.
Okay, will do.
Just the one.
But
So-
avoid
They
Rob's
are
cock.
rather large.
What's your official website?
ChunkyWombatMedia.co.uk.
What's your Twitter?
Chunky Wombat.
Uh,
UK.
Yeah, Chunky Wombat UK for Twitter.
I'm guessing if someone types in Chunky Wombat,
You'll
you're
find
pretty
it.
searchable.
Yeah.
Yeah, just look for
exactly.
the Wombat
You got your
cartoony
SEO
face.
expert, so you should
Yeah.
be alright at that.
Yeah.
we'll say that, yeah.
But yeah, on Facebook's probably the best place to get in touch with us because we're trying to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
What
throughout
we
the
use
day.
most often.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's surprising how much business goes.
Yeah. By all
happens
means,
through
message us there.
It's different. Like we talk to different people, and they always find, oh, Twitter's best for us, or Instagram's
Yeah,
best for us,
everybody's
or
different.
whatever. But it's
Everybody's
just
different.
No,
Yeah.
I
we
don't know.
we haven't really put any time
Twitter's
into.
just for drama, dude.
Just
Mm.
apparently
see, people say that
Facebook
about
is as well.
Facebook though.
You have to really put time into.
Social media side of it is, well, some companies have someone who just does that.
Yeah,
Mm.
It can be a full-time job if
that would be nice.
when you get to a certain level. It's just like because you've got to keep on top of it, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Because if you've got different customers or fans or whatever, they all use some portions of them use each one. So you've got to sort of be able to connect with them all the time.
Yeah.
That's just the world we live in now, isn't it?
Mhm.
It's not just an advert in the paper or.
No. Craigslist.
But yeah. Well, guys, thanks very much for joining us. Really
Thank you very
appreciate you
much.
coming
Yeah,
down.
thank you.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
How long have we been going? 2 hours, just like that. Boom. There you
Sweet.
go.
That's my bedtime.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Cheers.